Hello everyone! Welcome back to my stream, Seyorias. As you can see, I'm trying something new. I'm trying to see what it looks like without the lights on. And we're just gonna do the lights on me. And I don't know, it makes it seem a little bit darker, but maybe that's what I need. I need less color in the back and more just relaxing, like, this is like the LED screen for my monitors. And then the two lights next to my webcam. So, yeah. We're just going to see how this goes. But welcome back. I just wanted to first announce that we are going to be actually making my YouTube a little bit more active in the next coming months. So, the first big change, at least for me, that I'm going to do is I finished editing my JoJo Land. So, I'm going to be pumping that out starting next week. I do need to catch up. I'm 2 chapters behind, so Indomitable and I have to record it and edit that video too. And then we'll be fully caught up after that point. Yo, what's up, Coral? Welcome back. So, don't worry, my YouTube it is a rebranding. I mentioned this before, but my goal is I want to nail down a niche for my channel, and I don't want to necessarily go away from the anime content that I have been making. I think that can very much stay on my channel, but I think a perfect rebrand would be just Asian pop culture, because I love K-pop, I love K-dramas, I love Korean manhwas. I've been getting into some Chinese anime as well, and Chinese animation, like Bilibili. Amazing. Bilibili is one of the best studios out there. I think they're really making a name for themselves. So, since I want to talk about all that, and there's some overlap here, like, sure, I'll maybe a couple of times stray outside Asian pop culture and talk about, like, superheroes, because I love talking about DC and Marvel and all that fun stuff, even Invincible. But as a start, you know, just focusing in on that. To Be Hero X. Oh, beautiful, beautiful story. To Be Hero X is actually up there. I think it's one of the greatest shows ever made. I think it is up there with Arcane. Arcane and Spider-Verse in terms of just the art style alone. Story, they're a whole nother level. The writing is incredible. Yeah, To Be Hero X is awesome. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a future stream for sure. But the point is that I want to get back into making videos. I think I struggled the most with making these. I think sometimes it'd be 10 minutes, but most of the time it'd be 18-minute breakdowns of shows I watched. And it was just tedious to edit. I remember some of them, I was dying editing them because I tried to make them all perfect and stuff. And it wasn't like great editing. It was passable. But I found the most annoying part about it at the end was I would do all this work and it would end with a copyright strike. Didn't play any clips. All I did was show some visuals, edited those visuals down, mind you, and I talked over them when I was talking about JJK once, and they hit me with a copyright strike and I couldn't even show it anywhere. They blocked it everywhere. And that hurt me because I spent a long time editing that video. And they still said no. So, yeah, it's a no-go. I prefer, that's why I'm preferring. Right now, I'm going to edit down, like this video that you're watching right now. It's probably edited and put on YouTube if you miss stream. But it's just going to be a shortened down VOD that I'm going to add a couple edits here and there. Maybe add some images in based on what we're talking about, of course. And I feel like not only is that going to be much easier to edit, I can pump them out much faster. And I could schedule them. So that way, I was telling my friend who's going to get back into streaming, which is super hype, Fly Nimbus, go subscribe. He makes awesome D&D content. But the reason why I want to start doing that is because I feel like with streaming, I feel like the thing I'm lacking is discoverability right now. And I think I nailed the head on being entertaining and being able to talk for hours on end about whatever I'm interested in. But I feel like I just need to work on getting myself out there for discoverability, because you're not finding me on Twitch. You're not finding me on the YouTube VODs. No one watches YouTube VODs unless they already are a fan of you. I had a couple views on YouTube, but I want to put myself out there more. So that involves shortening and actually making the YouTube videos and adding fun thumbnails and such. Yeah. Yeah, To Be Hero X is what my hero... I'm going to disagree slightly with the To Be Hero X is what my hero should have been. My hero had a path. I just think it didn't follow it. If it went the same route as it did in season 1 and season 2, we would not have these issues. It'd be regarded as one of the greatest anime of all time. Because it strayed away in season 3, season 4, and then season 5, I think, is the most egregious and onward. That's where it loses its sauce. And perfect example, Vigilantes. If you watch Vigilantes, that's what my hero should have done. Focus on... The world's interesting. It's intricate. It's beautiful with the art style. The concept is interesting. So do something with that. Do something with that. Focus in on that as opposed to trying to do this giant war that no one really cares about because it's not really fleshed out and you don't have the writing capabilities to pull it off. Focus in on Deku and his journey to become the #1 hero, especially with the handicap like in season 1 and season 2. Well, To Be Hero, the reason why I'm saying it's different from To Be Hero X, because To Be Hero X does have a difference in the way it approaches the story, where the world building comes first, and you get sort of an establishment arc with a certain character that's very basic, but not in a bad way. But like, it's a way to introduce yourself to the world, get familiar with it. And then they jump perspectives, and then you're able to flush out the world because you have a basic understanding of how it works, thanks to this like basic understanding. And then from there, you're able to explore more. That's why it's interesting. That's why I do love To Be Hero X. My hero is very much a first person. You're following Deku. Deku is the main character. That's why there's a little bit of a difference. Personally, my still stance is I still think my hero should have stayed with the path of season 1 and season 2, where he can't really use One for All, and so he has to be inventive with it. And the finger breaking is sick, and they told him not to do that. But everything with Stain was incredible. Like stuff like that, where it's philosophy, challenging what it means to be a hero, the flaws within hero society. They do tackle those concepts. I just feel like it's just not as good. Like if my hero pulled off when Deku went full vigilante mode, if they extended that arc and had him like fully go, I'm not a black and white character, I am a gray vigilante who used to love heroes, and now I'm turning my back on the hero system that made me because I see the flaws within it, because it harms people in ways that I do not agree with. I'm going to go my own route. That would have changed the route for me, and I would have been back to loving my hero, but they did not do that. They ended the arc early. They introduced the war arc, which didn't really make sense with Shigaraki. It's just so confusing because it's like, do you want us to sympathize with the characters? Do you want us to understand where they came from? So you... Like, they're still monsters, but you at least understand why they ended up the way that they did. They kind of did both. And it's, like, not good. Not well executed. I felt like it was a little bit half-assed. And then they break they introduce the American hero, and then they immediately, like, take it away. And it's like, okay, what are we doing here? What's the point of anything going on? Because it doesn't matter. The world is at stake. It should have just focused on Japan. It should have just focused on the school. The moment it didn't and tried to bring in all this elaborate stuff. I'm actually a big fan of the Gentle Criminal arc in season 4. I thought in terms of stakes, it still was like, it wasn't life-threatening stakes, but I appreciated it. Because there were still stakes nonetheless of like making sure this girl had a beautiful school festival, especially from all the trauma she endured, Eri. But, you know, I did enjoy that. A lot of people did. I appreciated that because it went back to the slice of life moments of my hero, which I also did appreciate. But I think just overall, like, the fights are good. Don't get me wrong. The animation, for the most part, was pretty good up until season 5. But I don't know. I just could not care about anything beyond in terms of writing, like the story arcs, nor like anything beyond that. Yeah, to be arcs is like for us nostalgia, not complicated, but trying to be something that isn't Heroes. Well, it's not complicated because the complicated stuff. Okay, I think you're misinterpreting. Okay, To Be Hero X is not. It is complicated. It does start off basic and then it builds on itself, so it does become complicated when you think about how the rules work. I think what you're trying to say is it's not convoluted, because convoluted is when you have a complicated story, but the execution is done so poor, you don't care and you're confused on half the things going on, which is what My Hero did. It introduced gears for some reason in Deku's powers, and now he has more powers for One For All instead of keeping it to his super strength that he was already trying to master. And then people die, but they don't. And then villains have sacrifices. And then, yeah, that to me is convoluted. That's not it's complicated, but the poor execution makes it convoluted. Yeah. No. It is complicated though, because complicated means there's a lot of moving parts. Like, there are a lot of moving parts within this world. There's a way how the heroes got their powers. You learn that like there is the opposite effect where, you know, you can create sort of this virus through despair. Right? And then there's different hero rankings, there's different ideologies going on. So it is complicated. Because if it wasn't complicated, it'd be like good guy, bad guy. There's a lot of gray. And sometimes you look at some of like the villains and heroes, you're like, they made their decisions, but is it necessarily bad, or is it like it's more complicated than that? Like, for example, the perfect example is the what is it? It's the laser dude. And the guy who, he had all the armor and stuff. He uses like electrical magnetism powers. Like, the ideologies between both of them, they're both valid for their reasons on why they do what they do. That doesn't make them both good, because they both take actions that are a little bit murky. That's why it gets complicated. Again, I don't think complicated means bad per se, because a story can be complicated, but can be well executed. So you don't fully understand it from, like, if you look at a story, it may not you may not fully understand it the first time around, but the more you think about it, the more you get to understand it and follow along. That it can be complicated, but you can follow along if it has a well execution. Convoluted is when it's not and doesn't make sense, you know. Well, I mean, simple as maybe that's not the best example, but it's simple as it's easy to follow along at the start, you know. You're just like, oh, you're watching a story, you know exactly what's going on. Complicated is there's layers going on, and you're kind of trying to break them down. And that's why some of the most complicated stories where there's so many moving parts, that doesn't necessarily mean something is bad. Because then it could just be like, oh, I just have to process what's going on here. And if you are able to reach that conclusion directly because of the decisions made in the creative process, that's what makes it good. When it doesn't make sense, and you have to take a lot of leaps of faith and suspend your disbelief a lot, and I mean for like a lot of the things that shouldn't necessarily need that suspension of disbelief, then that's when it becomes convoluted. Yeah, Code Geass, exactly. Code Geass, beautiful example. Thank you. Code Geass, amazing in the great sense of it being complicated. Because again, lots of moving parts, different factions going on. Is there necessarily someone who's good and bad? Because both sides have good people, both sides have bad people, right? Like, it's not necessary. Like, what Lelouch did in that stadium completely invalidates all of the actions of the rebels. because then they murder the princess because they have to stop her, which again, it's not their fault. They did cause it, but it's not necessarily their fault. But their actions were the product of that, right? Yeah, so yeah, Stadium, yeah, I think it goes in infamy. I think it's worse than Nina in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That stadium scene, people talk about the dog. I talk about the stadium scene, dude. Like, oh my god, what? Like that was crazy. I think I mentioned before, my jaw was like dropped the entire time. But yeah, that's kind of my perfect example right here. Star Wars. You talk about the originals, right? The original trilogy. Very simplistic. You can follow along. You know who the good guys are. You know who the bad guys are. It's a very simple story. You go to the prequels, it gets a little bit more complicated. You know what I mean? Especially if you delve into Clone Wars. Perfect. That's complicated. There's lots of complicated situations, but it's done so well that you're able to break it down and form your own thoughts. Yeah. I'm glad they did the stadium because it hits the viewers with a bombshell, like actually, and develops a solution a way it had to. Yeah. And you note he dies, the villain, which spoiler alert, but it's Code Geass. If you haven't seen it yet, it's your fault. But yeah, it's I still feel like the reason, because of that, it pushed Lelouch to do the thing that needed to be done in the end. Is he the villain? Yeah, absolutely. The world will know him as the villain of the story. But all of his friends, anyone who knew his secret, including his sister, knew that he actually sacrificed himself to end a conflict that would have taken more lives. So, and his friend, oh my gosh, his friend, it was so heartbreaking. He murders his friend, right? Lelouch's friend, I forgot his name. He murders Lelouch. But again, it's for, even though it's murder, and it's a murder of a friend, it was needed to be done to establish world peace in a very sickening way. A beautiful lie, if you will. Yeah. Yeah, also when he told his friend, I forgot his name, who lives Lancelot, to survive no matter what. He came back in the end of season 1, I think. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's so messed up. It's so messed up. Like, he parades himself. So, again, there's so much that's why I feel complicated when stories do become like we're gonna go back to Peter X. To Peter X is a complicated story. The first arc, the first 3 episodes with that one guy, I will say, not complicated. That one is pretty straightforward. That being said, beyond that, that's when it gets interesting. And that's why I love it. And that's why My Hero, I think My Hero did start off that way where you could follow along, very simplistic. Didn't need to do that much craziness. Like, for example, you had the test, the exam, right? Where he had to prove his worth. And then All Might recognized him, right? Or no. So it was first, he was a school kid, quirkless, right? Runs into All Might accidentally, saves his friend. All Might entrusts him, but he has to earn it, right? So you're able to follow along throughout the entirety of My Hero. I think it is in season 3 when you introduce the League of Villains where you kind of lose the sauce, because it's like, okay, what's happening here with the camp? Are we even in school anymore? Season 4, same thing. They're doing the internships now, and it's like, okay, I get that's going on. But now you're dealing with you know what I mean, overhaul. And then season 5, it's like, oh no, we're in a war arc now. And then, oh yeah, All for One is in season 4 too, and that's a thing. So it's like, that's when it becomes convoluted, in my opinion, because you're doing too much for something that should have been a simplistic story, and you could have written it in a way where it made sense within the high school setting, like Harry Potter. Because Harry Potter still revolves around, it's an My Hero Academia. It's in the school. When you remove the school element, and I get you have internships and stuff, but they're still in their first year, so it doesn't make sense. They're high schoolers in their first year. What do you mean? They're already doing their externships, internships, whatever, you know? That's where the suspension of disbelief is really tough for me, because I'm like, well, what are we, like when the League of Villains attacked the first time in the school field trip, like that training facility, made sense. Beyond that, when they're actually going into the city, it's like, what's the point of even having a hero license if you're letting students act as heroes when, you know, during externships, internships, you know, whatever. Even though the Saint arc was good, but the Saint arc fed into, it was all about his classmate Ida, you know, so yeah, again, yeah, you're right. I would have loved to see more of the slice of life in My Hero. Like, yeah, that was, to me, that's when My Hero peaked. Like, when they went to the mall, I was so hyped when Shigaraki put his hand over Midoriya's neck, because he wasn't on Zeku yet, and he was talking to him, and you're like, oh shit, it's gonna be like All Might versus All For One, and like Midoriya versus Shigaraki. And what was they were trying to hype up was, yeah, All For One is still out there, and it would have been cool seeing All Might fight All For One while Midoriya fought Shigaraki, you know? That didn't happen. That did not happen. It was just some BS at the end where Shigaraki / one All For One are the same person now for some reason. And now you got all these... Again, that's where it becomes convoluted, and that's where I think My Hero loses it. Fairy Tail has a sense of complexity, non-traditional sense, but when you get... Well, here's the thing. That's why I love Fairy Tail. Again, Fairy Tail, what is Fairy Tail all about? Fairy Tail, the guild. Everything that happens in the show revolves around the guild and Team Natsu. Nothing else that happens within the story strays away from that. And that's why you're able to follow along, because the anchor is there. Regardless of who they fight, Fairy Tail will always belong. Fairy Tail is always a theme. It's between the bonds between friends, how to overcome hardship with those around you, what it means to fight for something. Like, all these themes tie into Fairy Tail. The same cannot be said. Same cannot be said for My Hero, because again, you lose the slice of life and then it's over. And especially when you need slice of life to balance out. People hate slice. They call it filler. I call bullshit. Like, the slice of life moment was them going to the mall, Uraraka blushing because she realizes she has a crush on Midoriya, and then Midoriya facing Shigaraki. Those are plot relevant stuff. And so slice of life can also very much be canon and very important to the story. It's just the way you handle it matters. And people are like, oh, I just want the fighting. Go watch something else then. Go watch Baki. That's what the shows are. Like, I feel like we have a lot of shows that already do that. Just give me more slice of lives in my shonen. Like, moments in my shonen. Like, them going to the mall, I thought was great. Them just going to a cafe after class, talking. And so we learn more about, like, slice of life moments was Midoriya hanging out with Ida more and learning about Ida's backstory and his older brother and aspiring to be him, you know? That stuff was, I was eating that stuff up. That was good. And then it led to, like, one of the best moments was the Sane arc, which is when Midoriya and Ida teamed up to take down Sane. And it was so cool. I loved it to death. It was awesome. But yeah, we don't really get, like, imagine, I mean, we did get Red Riot. Red Riot in season 4, that was a standout, but I would have loved it more if it was tied into Midoriya and Red Riot working together. You know what I mean? We had more moments of him working with the rest of Class A. Yeah, that's why on my new channel, I do What If Izuku Had Solo Leveling System, and I was going to include a bit plot relevance, slice of life, and of course needed the beach episode. Yeah. I would have shown up for the teachers, though. I'm going to be completely honest, if it was a beach episode. Midnight, oh my goodness. But my biggest problem with Izuku is they just lose I think honestly, I think they nerf him. They nerf the hell out of him because if you watch him in season 1 and season 2, he has to use his brain to figure out how to succeed in these competitions despite not being able to use one for all because he's not ready yet. And so he has to use the minds and he has to be clever with it. And I'm like, that's great. It shows he's like a strategist. He paid attention to heroes. He did his research. He's a nerd. And then, come season 3, I think you lose a little bit of that because then he just digs into using more percentages of one for all. And then season 4, of course, same thing. It's just like, I want to see more smarts than him. Like, I'm going to punch you harder, That's like my one thing is like, they showed us the strategist part of him and then they kind of just forget about it. You know what I mean? Yeah, the fight against Bakugo in season 2 was perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the fight again, season 2 was peak. I think it peaked. My Hero peaked at season 2. Because you had Bakugo versus Deku. You had Deku and Ida versus Stain. You had yeah, it was great. And then the tournament arc. Oh my gosh, the tournament arc. Deku versus what was it? Not only just Bakugo. I mean, not really Bakugo. Bakugo is more chasing him, but especially him and Todoroki. Oh, that was awesome. And he almost beat Todoroki, breaking his fingers, But he was able to still win in the end because he helped Todoroki learn what it means to, like, break free from the chains of his past. And we don't really... Yeah, again, I would have loved if you... Because it's all still relevant to the school. It's a tournament arc for students. That's still very relevant. I would have loved to see more of that on later seasons that we did not get. Because it also feels slice of life. But you still have stakes. You still have character in depth. Like, you still go in depth with the characters. Like, I would have loved if they actually went in and explored Red Riot a lot more. With Midoriya, though. Like, if you pair him and Midoriya, the characterization would have gone crazy. Like, maybe a mission they could have done, too, was Midoriya teaming up. Like, he had a little bit with, Momo, right? Or not Momo. What's the frog girl's name in My Hero? Suyu, yeah. Suyu. Yeah, like do something with Suyu where you had a little bit of the characterization, but go into the backstory, like have Midoriya go with her. I feel like when they started going to other pairings with other classmates, I just did not care. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, I'm here for Midoriya. It's cool if you can give them an interesting backstory, but it doesn't tie me down to anything. You lost your anchor, Yeah. Yeah, he was still in middle school or thought strategy and didn't use power with his brand new. Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't even like his new powers. He was being inventive with those. He kind of just used them as is. You know what I mean? Like, he just kept punching. Like, the fact that season 4, his big revelation was, I can kick instead of using my hands. It's like, you would have, if you were season 1, season 2, Midoriya, you would have figured that out in one episode. You didn't need to spend like a whole half a season trying to figure that out and make those modifications to your costume, Again, I think the biggest gripe for me with My Hero, especially when it comes to it being like convoluted versus complicated, is they could have definitely just focused on Midoriya and his growth. And there's still a lot of good ideas and great moments in later seasons. I'm not gonna lie and say it's all bad. Like, overhaul fight was great. I loved him using Eri. I thought the sports festival arc, or not sports festival, the music festival arc for the school was great. Like stuff like that where he has to think and be inventive. I'm all for. Like, but the problem is just you have to get back to what My Hero is about. It's about the school. It's about what it means to be a hero. It's about Midoriya's dreams to be like All Might, but also becoming his own hero. And the challenges he has to face as someone who was handicapped, you know, from using his full strength. And if they leaned more into that in later seasons and exploring the things that they wanted to, like League of Villains, like Shigaraki's motivations, you could have made it cool where Shigaraki was jealous of Midoriya and he leaned even more into his love for All For One as his disciple or whatever, right? And what would have been cool is if he kept the same powers and grew without that test tube bullshit. You know, if he was like Midoriya, like a darker Midoriya, and learning using his wits how to best utilize his powers instead of becoming like immortal and this other bullshit. Like if he fought, because if Midoriya landed one solid punch on him, he'd be over. The same as if he landed one solid punch against him, he'd probably vaporize. Like that would add stakes because they're both weak enough. They're vulnerable, right? It's like the Light versus L thing in Death Note. They're both on each other's tails. One wrong move and the other goes down. You know what I mean? That's what they could have done with Shigaraki and Midoriya, especially because Shigaraki's past, which I thought was good. Him being the son of the last user for One For All. So that's just my thing. Is like you lose the spirit and what the original story was about, and I that's my biggest gripe with My Hero. Yeah, and the ending reflects that completely because you look at the ending and you're like, what was the whole theme of the book, like of the story that we went on, this world? Because I feel like you did not honor it, what you started with that conclusion. Because like he's hyping up, I'm going to be the #1 hero, or I'm known as the #1 hero, and it doesn't really end that way without giving out spoilers. And I'm just like, then why do anything? And also it doesn't help. Like also like some of the characters I feel like are just, I don't know, it's just weird. There's too many flash, like here's this random character. Okay, here's a flashback. Here's this random character. Here's a flashback. Instead of letting the story breathe naturally and learning through dialogue and witnessing backstories, like not flashing backstories 24/7, but you know, taking it easy. And it would have helped too to focus on less characters instead of introducing class 1B, support class, all the other 2 schools, the internship, the 3rd years, you know. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop. I mean, they're cool characters, don't get me wrong, but stop focusing on them. Because it just leads to less time for characters. You already have a lot of characters in class 1A. If you lowered that class 1A to like 10 characters, and you could have made it like, oh, this is like a private school. There's only so many students per class. And then you could do the sports festival. You can like actually focus on a lot of the characters. I feel like you could have cut a lot of those characters out because of the lack of screen time they were given. Like poor Ida, man. Poor Ida gets sidelined after season 2. It's awful. You barely know he's there anymore. Todoroki's kind of there. But that's only because of Endeavor. But yeah. So, yeah. Again, I've never been one to argue. My point is, I've just never been one to argue. A complicated story is not bad. It's when it becomes convoluted is where my big issue is. Yeah, it's a prestigious academy, and somehow Purple Sticky Ball Man made it, but the guy who turned into a rock monster and smacked robots didn't. That's wild to me. Yeah, I call pay to win. Guarantee you he had an insider that let him into the academy somewhat. I don't know what that little purple goober used to get into that academy. But yeah. That also like kind of irked me was when I was first. I'm like, okay, so the students who made it in are probably some of the top tier characters, right? Now, some of their quirks are like, you made it in with this? Your quirk is literally you just have a tail. You have extra limbs and eyeballs. What? And then there's also like, I don't know. Maybe because I've also been reading a lot of fantasy stories lately about academies. And the reason why some of them are really good is because they focus on the academy. Color me surprised. Focus on the academy when the story is about an academy. Your story stays focused and is pretty good. But I've watched anime. I've read a lot of stories where they focus on the academy. And it's like the students that make it in, it's because it's like a medieval with kings and queens and nobles. So it makes sense why these characters make it in that are very weak, because they have the connections to make it in. You know what I mean? To the Royal Academy or whatever. Unfortunately, My Hero doesn't have that. I think it would have been interesting to focus on what if their parents were professional heroes? Because heroes have been around for a long time. And maybe Purple Sticky Ball Man, you know, made it in because his father or mother was a famous hero and got his way in. Or uncle, you know. You could have done something cool like explore what it means to have privilege. You know, hard work versus not. And they did, I guess, touch on it a little bit with the traitor. I won't spoil who the traitor was. But if you read My Hero, you probably know what it is. But you learn how the traitor made it into the school was through the connections. And I thought you could have done more with that. You could have absolutely tapped into people deserving versus, you know, people who are gifted their way into this prestigious school. You know what I mean? And it would even further the purple haired dude in his pursuit to become part of Class 1A, despite not making the cut for the program. You know what I mean? Despite having a cool power. But yeah, that's just like I could go on a rant for My Hero like for so long till like I'm blue in the face, because my biggest my biggest gripe for Squid Game season 2 or season 3 too, which is really unfortunate. But it's like you were right there. You were so close to making this an amazing show, a classic hands down, one that I could keep rewatching, like Assassination Classroom, like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, like Hunter x Hunter, Code Geass, any show that's a classic I could return to. And My Hero just goes, yeah, we dropped the ball hard. We lost what we like went away from the things that what made the show originally great, and that was it being focused on what like imagine a school for superheroes like Sky High, but instead it's anime. It has an anime style to it. There's anime style powers. There's anime storytelling, the way they tell stories in anime, all attached to the school. And it was considered the new big 3 when it dropped, My Hero Academia. And it's just like, where'd it go, man? Where'd it go? Gurren Lagann, perfect example. And look what Gurren Lagann does. The focus is on the drill. What the drill represents, the drill as a physical object, the drill as, you know, that giant robot, you know, that everything that happens in the show relates to that drill and growing stronger, piercing the heavens, what it means to have a greater purpose, and fighting greater enemies whose worldview completely comes in contrast to your own, you know? And what it means to deal with sacrifice along the way, what it means to deal with love, what it means to deal with companionship, what it means to deal with friendship, you know? There's so many things, but it all ties into that drill. And that's why Gurren Lagann's good. Again, I could go back to Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann is a fantastic show. I get so sad with the ending though. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. But that show is so depressing. Because you watch that ending and you're like, no, no, anything but that. Yeah, the wedding scene. Oh, you know it has to happen, but oh, because it makes sense. And you don't think about it until that happens. You're like, wait, no, I thought everything was okay. No, no, stay with me. No, you know? Yeah, but again, Gurren Lagann, I feel Gurren Lagann is an interesting show because it's simplistic within its plot, right? You gotta fight the power. We got a drill and a robot, and we're gonna fight these creatures that go against having our freedom. You know what I mean? What it means to live freely. Then you cut to, right? Later on, you cut to more complicated themes within the show. And what I like about it is you can follow along, and then you can also take the time to digest what they show in front of you, right? Yeah, big makeup, big woman. Ooh, a wooga, you know? Big fights. Yeah, I did forget about the big woman. Oh yeah, no, the fan service in Gurren is crazy. But so are the men. Here's the thing. Gurren's good because Gurren also does it to the men. You know, you got your muscle daddies for the women out there. Like Kamina and then adult Simon. Right. So. Oh, see, but again, the saddest moment isn't even the certain character's death. It's not the ending when he has to say goodbye to his loved one. No. To me, the saddest one was what was his name? Was it Scar? Or Spiral? Was it? Hold on. I think it's Scar, right? Or Viral. There we go. I'm thinking of Full Metal. Viral's dream sequence during that one sequence, that one got me. That one is the saddest moment in the entire show. Maybe tied with Kamina. You know? Yeah. Yeah, but it also does lead to an amazing moment. But again, it's building up. It's a building block. They build upon it, so it becomes complicated. But again, it is like 2 B Hero X, where you set a foundation to then build upon. But since you understand the foundation, you're able to climb the steps no problem because you understand how to follow along. And so you get to visualize the steps in front of you. In complicated stories, since the foundation isn't there, you don't know where the steps are, and you end up tripping all over the place and not understanding a single thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, Severed Head people found out was real hot. Who was the main villain part 1? Yeah. Also, people downplay how strong Simon is. Yeah, he can beat Goku easily. Yeah. I mean, what? He was literally throwing literal galaxies at the anti-spiral. You know? They were going crazy. Like, using literal planets and solar systems in their fight as their weapons. Yeah. Simone is pretty strong. Yeah. And it started with like a little boy who became a man, you know? So. Yeah, top tier. Gurren all the way. But yeah, so I don't know. If I had a recommendation of classics, if I could drop, yeah, he gave up all the power because who the hell do you think he is? Yeah. Who the hell do you think he is? You know, believe in the me that believes in you. Beautiful quote, by the way. Iconic too. But yeah, if I had to list my favorite like I feel like there is I still think the best gateway anime, because that's the gateway anime for me personally, My Hero Academia, the perfect gateway anime to get used to it. I would say Attack on Titan, but I think Attack on Titan would turn off a lot of people who aren't exposed to gore and don't like gore. I feel that's why My Hero Academia is the perfect introduction, because you get 2 amazing seasons, and then you can explore your anime tastes after and where you want to go, because it's a very standard basic show. You know what I mean? But in terms of my classics that I would start labeling as classic anime that I think everyone should watch, Gurren Lagann, absolutely up there. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, complete story, amazing beginning to end, some of the best characterization I've seen for a villain. And Greed, I love Greed to death. Alphonse and Edward too. Oh, the bond between brothers you get to definitely see, and also Winry. I thought the relationship between Winry and her were great. I think I'd be one to recommend Gurren Lagann so you don't accept it to be as serious as it is, and every time recommended top 3 for people. Well, here's the thing. I also base my recommendations off what type of person you are. If you do not like fan service, I would not recommend Gurren Lagann. I'm gonna keep it a stack. If you don't like fan service, I'm not recommending you Gurren Lagann. If you can tolerate fan service, I will recommend Gurren Lagann. You don't have to enjoy it. You just gotta understand it's gonna be there. For the fan service stuff, I would more recommend Clanad. For those who aren't really the biggest fans of that, or on Host Club, or on High School Host Club, another classic. But yeah, no, I would say Black Butler. Yeah, Black Butler, great one. Hellsling, I still need to see. I've heard good things about it though. Yu Yu Hakusho. I think that is a very safe show that you can recommend to people. It is amazing. I would recommend it over Hunter x Hunter, completely honest. Because Hunter x Hunter, you have to be in the mood for, and you can get turned off by the gore. Yu Yu Hakusho, you start watching it, a lot of people will love Yu Yu Hakusho. I think that's for the masses. Also, I think I did mention Assassination Classroom. That's also a classic. Didn't mention Full Metal. Sword Art Online, I would recommend. Just because I think that okay, is it a trashy isekai? Yes. Did it start off the isekai boom? Yes, it did. And that's why I recommend it, because oh my goodness, where would we be without Sword Art Online? I grew up on that shit. I love Kirito. I don't care. I love the world of Sword Art Online. I love the mechanics. I love the power system. Like, you can't go wrong with it. And that's why it's good. Yeah, I think for sports, I go Hajime no Ippo, or boxing, or ball sports, Kuroko no basketball. I would do Ace of Diamond if you're going to do baseball. Ace of Diamond's a good one. Blue Lock Season 1, I would recommend. I would not recommend Season 2. I would say watch Blue Lock Season 1 and then read the rest for Blue Lock Season 2. If you're up for more romancy type anime for sports, I would say definitely. I mean, I read the manga. I didn't watch the anime, but I've heard the anime at least is decent. And that's Blue Box. Blue Box is alternative sports. I love that one. Yeah. Sword Art Online, the first 2 seasons were peak. Nothing changes my mind. There's 20 months. Yeah. Horimiya. Okay. The one thing I don't like about Horimiya is the way they handled, what was it, like the second season, or when they broke it's when they broke it up and then they had to go back and make, was it little pieces or little bites to fill in all the skipped content. I wasn't a fan of that. But everything else, yeah, no. Horimiya is a solid one. I would also do Yamada-kun and the 7 Witches, and Yamada-kun at level 99. Those 2 are great romances. Granted, Yamada-kun and the 7 Witches has a lot more fan service than level 99. Level 99 is more of a safer one. But if you can tolerate some fan service, I think that was a beautiful one. The 7 Witches, yeah. Horimiya, yeah, that's fair. I also feel like it ends the moment that it like completely drops. Yeah, there's also Fruits Basket. Yeah. Yeah, My Lie, Your Lie in April. Your Lie in April is heartbreaking. I only do that if I really hate someone. I'm gonna be completely honest. If I really don't like someone, I'm doing this, okay? Start with Assassination Classroom, then give them Your Lie in April, then watch Your Name, then watch Silent Voice, then I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. It's over. It's over. You killed them. I know some of them are movies, but oh my goodness. Oh, and Charlotte. I'll throw in Charlotte there. And Angel Beats. Angel Beats and Charlotte. There we go. There's your anime. Charlotte broke me because I was not expecting that ending, and it was gut wrenching. And then yeah. Yeah, and Angel Beats, same thing. Yeah, Magic Kaido. Yeah, Magic Kaido. That one's a solid one. Magic Kaido's great. Detective Conan. If you want a long-running one that's a classic, Detective Conan. It's still ongoing. Like, people are like, I don't want to watch One Piece because of the fan service, you know? I think Detective Conan is a solid... it's up there for one of my favorites. And I know I'm saying that a lot, but there's a shit ton of shows I've seen, so I have a shit ton of favorites. That's just how I roll. But Detective Conan is the perfect mystery show because sometimes you'll have standard which you figure out who did what, but you'll have some complicated ones where it's dang, the mystery's kind of interesting. Yeah, Magi of Sinbad. Then they're like Magi. I start them on Magi and then I have them go to Adventures of Sinbad. Because it adds more if you watch Magi first, learn about Sinbad, and then when you read the prequel, it adds layers. I do that. I don't do it chronologically. I do it like Star Wars. You watch the originals, then you watch the prequels, and it adds so much. Because you're like, who is this guy? I think that's what you need, is seeing like this naked purple-haired dude lounging around outside of his kingdom. You know, you need that introduction, and you're like, okay, who's this goofball? And then you learn who he is. You're like, holy shit! And then you want to learn more about him. Then you watch Adventures of Sinbad. Yeah. Well, okay, Magi. That's fair though. But Magi does take a little bit to get into. But if you get through, I would say the 3-episode rule, right? 3-episode rule for anime, I think that definitely applies for a lot older shows. If you start with the 3-episode rule, Magi you'll get into. It just takes some time to cook. But once it starts going, yeah, it gets great. Yeah, but you know what? That's fair. That's fair. It is a little bit slower on the start. I mean, that's the same way for Demon Slayer, you know? Demon Slayer is definitely the same way. Because I was watching it and I was like, this is kind of slow. I kept watching it and then it turned out to be okay. I'm not the biggest fan of Demon Slayer. That's my hot take. Not like some other shows. That's fair. That's fine. My biggest flex though is I did see Demon Slayer before it became super popular after one specific arc. I was watching that 3 episodes in and no one was talking about it. I know everyone's talking about it. And I feel like I was ahead of the curve. Even though I'm an anime only and I haven't read the manga. I still beat everyone to the punch. Like that's still pretty cool in my opinion. Same with One Piece. I started getting into One Piece before the big boom, where it was already popular enough, but this is during Whole Cake with the Sanji fight. We didn't know about Wano yet at all, or Gear 5, and then you know people started going crazy with One Piece, and One Piece exploded even more so in popularity. It was already popular, but it got even more so, and I'm glad I was able to beat the curve there. Yeah, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, sometimes you can't help it. Some people like literally don't shut up. You know, they don't even do spoiler warning anymore. They just drop it for clicks. One Piece. No, it's fine. It's fine. One Piece is a lot though. I'm behind on One Piece. You have to be in the mood to watch One Piece. I was watching it weekly, and it started getting good because I was waiting for Gear 5. I'm be honest, I just I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of One Piece right now because I'm just not in the mood for it. I still think One Piece did peak during earlier season. I don't think Gear 5 was peak. Like a peak moment from the show. If there's, what do you mean I'm fake for that, Flying Nimbus? Okay. Stop. Gear 5 is good. Let me clarify, okay? Gear 5 is absolutely good. However, I still think the Lucci versus Luffy fight during it's not the Impel Down. It's what is it? The Water 7 after the Water 7 arc. When they imprisoned Robin. It's that. When Luffy goes jet Gatling gun for the first time against Lucci, busts through the wall in front of everyone, saving Robin. That was the best moment in the show, and it still had the original art style, the OG art style of the fucking show. It wasn't the updated art style, and that's why One Piece was peak, in my opinion. That is the pinnacle of One Piece moments in my heart. Yeah, Impel Down. There we go. Yeah, it was so good. There are still great moments. I just don't think it has reached that point yet, Flying Nimbus, okay? Like, don't get me wrong. Gear 5 was amazing. I think maybe, I will say, I'm going to say it. Okay. Definitely top 3. I don't know if it's the number 2 slot or number 3. It is top 3 One Piece moments is Gear 5. That being said, I still think number 1 is that Lucci versus Luffy fight because that is iconic. The music worked. The whole emotional core of rescuing Robin, who wanted to kill herself because she thought she didn't deserve to live. Them shooting down the flag to start their attack. Everything just worked out so well. Okay. Get the fuck out of here, Flying Nimbus. I don't want to fucking hear it. Okay. You're like, you call me fake? Come at me, dude. Come at me. I see how it is. This guy's gonna get back into streaming, and all of a sudden he's gonna start shit talking. Okay. I know I love drama. It's in my title, but I'm already gonna start beef with you, Flying Nimbus. Is that what's gonna go down? Okay. I'm gonna have to roast your D&D session. Is that what's next? If we're roasting each other's content, I see how it is. Yeah, I also hate when I read manhwa and webtoons when I'm reading chapters still coming out, and I leave for a couple days and there's 30 chapters for I to read. Yeah, and you lose your spot because there's so much time. Yeah, Flying Nimbus is the D&D guy. Go check him out if you can. Yeah, he's more into D&D than me. I'm gonna be honest. I would be more into D&D. But there's just so many other things, and my brain works in a completely different way, where sometimes I lose myself in D&D. I'm gonna be honest, because I'm more focused on what my character does and what he's going to do or needs to plan on doing. I lose the plot of what is going on with every other character. So I'm just like, well, my character's dumb. He doesn't know what's going on. So that's just how my brain is. I don't know. I get more preoccupied on what's in front of me. Which is also the point I make is like, that's why I appreciate complicated stories that set the foundation and you're able to follow along as opposed to those convoluted stories like we were mentioning before. Yeah. I will say though, if we're ranking One Piece moments, okay. Luffy versus, so it's Luffy versus Usopp was a peak moment. There's also not the fight between Luffy and Sanji, but the aftermath where Sanji brings him food. That was a great moment. There's the great moment in, of course, Gear 5. You have the amazing moment of just everything with Nami is a classic, right? So, yeah. So, yeah, it's just there's just so much. There's just so much. And look, I'm not here to bash One Piece. I still think One Piece has a special place in my heart. That being said, I will call out bullshit when I see it. And I call bullshit when people say Gear 5 is peak of One Piece. I still think that is bullshit. I ran a Naruto D&D with the Hogwarts group. I kid you not, the amount of time those in character 11-year-olds tried to hit on Tsunade is insane. To be fair though, 11-year-olds do, if the teacher is attractive, it's not surprising. Kids have done that in the past. They've made comments. Growing up, we all know this. There's those types of kids, right? When it gets weird is when Tsunade, the teacher, responds, you know? Usually the teacher's like, shut the fuck up, you know? That's inappropriate. That's what will end up happening, you know? Because there's going to be, you know, kids... They're 11-year-olds, you know, that means they're in fourth grade, right? So, but yeah, no, that's still weird. Yeah, but no, I still think it's real. All three roll a triple in that. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that is complicated. Because then what the fuck do you do then? Like what'd you give them then as a reward? Okay, that's kind of whack though. That's kind of whack. What I would have done, if I was there, what I would have done was only ninjas. That's fucking wild. I would have given them arts to secret jutsus, you know, and then they would gain more abilities instead of that. That's crazy. Like, okay, you guys flatter me. Here are these gifts where you can learn to become stronger students. That's what I would have done. That's wild though. 11-year-olds. That's crazy. So you know what's funny? Yeah, they were more than content, so I skipped from that front. Okay, that's fair. I mean, if they did roll in that 20s, you have to figure out some solution, you know what I mean? You know what I've been playing with recently? Not even games. Right now, so something about me, real quick. What are they called? Fidget spinners, you know, fidget devices that you play with. So I got this USB. It has 512 gigabytes, so it was a little bit pricey, but hey, it's a lot of storage, so it helps me with like editing. Like I basically moved over the file to edit my JoJo Lands video that I just uploaded, so I'm gonna be able to post it later with this thing right here because it has so much storage. But it's a slider, see? So look. So I've been messing with this right now. I love fidgeting with stuff. I feel like I'm gonna break it just going back and forth. I just love fidgeting with this little switch here. So yeah. You know what? Okay. Do you know what's weird for me though? Because we're talking about like, of course, like the things we don't like in shows and stuff, right? I love drama. I love K-dramas. I love American dramas. I love ship it. That's my shtick, okay? I am the I'm the Captain Jack Sparrow of shipping, okay? I am a captain on the boat that is sinking at the beginning of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. That is me. I am a solo captain in this journey as we weather the 7 seas to find the One Piece. That being said, I do have some reservations about being involved in drama in IRL, not in my shows and stuff. I will get completely involved in behind the scenes gossip when it comes to Hollywood actors and behind the scene production issues, and even like in content, like, oh, I love learning about the shows, right? And like, oh my gosh, this character did this against this character, especially in K-dramas. I eat that shit up. That being said, I do not like being a part of the tea. I do not like being involved in the drama. And that is something that's recently, that's been like recently prevalent in my life, especially my work life, because I learned a lot of things in my workplace. A lot of drama. And I knew drama was there, but I learned a lot more. And oh my goodness, is it ugly in the professional space. I used to think sometimes that I am the main character, and it's a toxic trait, I know, but it's not necessarily that I think I'm better than everyone else. No. I feel like I'm on my own for the most part, and I'm going through life on my own course by myself. And it could be in part because I'm streaming and I have my own style of content. I have the things I like. I'm very picky with what I enjoy, right? And I think that's what everyone should strive to do, is find a hobby, find something that is very unique to yourself and pursue that. Because that is what I think true happiness stems from, is finding what you like that is very personal to you, that will make you set yourself apart from doing what everyone else wants to do, you know? Whether it's liking the unpopular shows, whether it is liking popular shows, but having your own perspective on it, you know? So that is why I personally love drama, because drama makes life interesting. That being said, being a part of drama is not. And a perfect example of this is growing up, my parents are some people who like to be very private about the things going on in life. So if they were dealing with stuff, whether it was legal troubles, whether it was taxes, whether it was job issues, or like family issues, like extended family issues, they wouldn't tell my brothers and I have 2 younger brothers. They wouldn't tell us what was going on because in their perspective, in their minds, they believed it was their responsibility to shoulder a lot of the drama going on in life and to keep the youngins pure and innocent. And not have to deal with all this drama. And growing up, as someone who's been the oldest out of the majority of my siblings and cousins, I thought I was being wronged. I thought, hey, I want to be involved in this drama. I'm mature enough to handle the truth, okay? I want to know exactly what's going on. You can't keep me in the dark because I'm going to pick up on it. And my parents still refused. Now that I am graduated from college, working a full-time job in the professional field, I completely understand why my parents kept me from all the bullshit going on in daily life, because, oh my goodness, there is so much under the table, under the tip of the iceberg that you have yet to see in daily life that is very harmful, can be very scary and very daunting. And you have to just be careful with it. And it's because I have so much on my plate already and I am dealing with a lot of drama, especially in the professional space right now that I'm learning, that I find it a blessing. I don't have to deal with the family troubles. That is left to my parents. And it's nice that my brothers and I are all on good terms. We actually love talking to each other. So that's a dub right there. Same with my cousins and extended family. We're all on good terms. But the actual intermediate family troubles, I'm glad I'm not a part of it, because I understand there's a responsibility to knowing. As a kid growing up, I didn't know that. I didn't know. It sucked because that means you have to focus your time and energy dealing with this BS as opposed to focusing in on your own troubles, right? It's just too much for one person. Eventually, I'm probably going to have to deal with that when I grow up even older and become, you know, old enough to, like, you know, have nieces and nephews, right? But yeah, so fact of life, do not become involved in drama. Trust me, it takes so much energy. It sucks the life out of you. There's been times where I've been in drama in college and oh my goodness, I could remember every night I felt exhausted. Just woke up in the morning, felt exhausted. You want to know why? Because I was dealing with a lot of bullshit from a lot of people and it was annoying. So yeah, drama is like, that's how I feel. I'm like, if you involve me in drama, if you want to bring me into drama, that's very much your problem. I'm gonna be like, keep me out. Like, I have my thoughts and views on it, but I won't help you directly. I'll just say my piece and move on. That's just who I am. Unless, of course, it's like a mental health thing and you really need help, then I'll help you out. But if it's like you're dealing with something that only you can and it's very personal, I'm sorry, no offense, but I'll be there for you. I'm not there to solve the issue. That's the extent I will go. Yeah, as much as I love learning about it too. I love learning about drama because you're like, oh, now I have a different perspective on the world. I thought my life, like, I thought I was struggling with certain things. I think I do learn from people that they deal with the same things I do sometimes. And it's based on, you know, how you approach these situations, like the way I've been approaching these situations, that is what really matters in the end. Because if I deal with a situation, someone's dealing with the same thing, I'll give them that piece of advice. But that ends my involvement. Because if you become involved, you become a target. And that's what I don't want. I don't want to become a target. Please keep me out of it. Keep me out of it. I promise I don't want to fight. I don't want anything to do with anything, you know? You know what? I'm gonna throw in an anime example because this is the anime pop culture YouTube channel. It's the anime pop culture stream or whatever. Perfect example going on right now in anime. You know, all the bullshit in Oshinoko, as much as it ended badly, right? We can all agree it ended badly. It's like that type of drama where there's a lot going on. There's lots of convoluted parts. And then at the end, when you see all that drama and have to deal with it, it ends up being a bunch of bullshit, you know? And just a time waster that you could have just avoided if you just did not get involved. You know what I mean? So that's just my thing. Or better yet, another great example is look at any what's a good one? So if you guys have seen the drama Castaway Diva, it's a K-drama. Amazing show, by the way. It is very complicated at the start, and it would be convoluted, but it luckily flushes out everything and explains everything, which is kind of the appeal of the show. Masterfully done. I love Castaway Diva. But there's so many parts of like what it means abusive parents, and then it's like two siblings dealing with abusive parents and how they both find a way to overcome, you know, their own family drama, you know? Like stuff like that is a it can be a very real thing. And I think there are times when someone approaches you with these issues that instead of giving them advice, because sometimes, like for me, I'm a very privileged person. I think both my parents are great. I've had no issues with them. They've had no issues themselves. I'm very fortunate and I'm very blessed to have a great family. And I do understand that. I am in no capacity able to share my personal thoughts on how someone should be able to handle a situation, and I shouldn't, because I don't know their own circumstances. Instead, I can guide them to places where they may be able to gain help and receive help from professionals, you know? I feel like that's the best anyone can do. And like if we talk, and even if we talk about the online space, oh my gosh, how much drama farming is on the internet. Basically, that's the internet nowadays. It's all about drama farming. You know, someone loves a show and all of a sudden something bad comes out about a specific actor or something popular. And then everyone, boom, drama. And granted, sometimes it's valid. Sometimes it's discovering people are actually monsters behind the scenes that are famous. Which, did you know famous people can be monsters? Crazy thought, I know. But my point is that there's just something about looking at the real world and looking at online spaces. And I feel like there is a correlation, especially with drama farming, because if you look at real life events and you look at the youth right now, the youth is more connected to the internet than ever. I am the youth. I am Gen Z. I grew up with the internet. Granted, I'm not brain rotted, glued to the internet like Gen Alpha and Gen Beta. Bless their souls. They're going to have a tough uphill battle, especially with literacy rates going down, which we can thank the internet and short attention spans for that. And AI, oh my gosh, it's going to be over. But yeah, it's just like, you know what's going to end up happening because of, you know, the way that the world is going to progress. And the internet, I feel people are underestimating the effect the internet can have on influencing groups of people and radicalizing people and causing a lot of disdain. Like, I think negativity on the internet, it's always been there. It always has. But when people drama farm, when people involve themselves in drama, both valid and invalid reasons, I'll say that, especially on the internet, you can also know that I want everyone to do an experiment for me real quick. Go back to the last time you scrolled TikTok, when you scrolled YouTube, when you scrolled Twitter, right? Anytime you went online, Instagram, Facebook, you know, Google even. If you run into an article that's something negative, that not tragic, like I won't say necessarily tragedies because that's just news coverage, that's different. But I'm talking drama, right? Like someone did something bad, you know, a corporation got busted for unethical reasons, right? If you just look at anything that is just, you know, if like, and when I mean tragedy, I mean like an accident happening where it's like an oil rig explodes or something, you know, it's tragic, but it's not, there's like no direct human, unless it's like, oh yeah, they were corrupt, they cut costs, and that's why this event happened. That's completely different. But if it has no human involvement, like, oh, or like a avalanche, right? That like unfortunate accident happens, people lose their lives. That's not what I'm specifically focusing on. What I'm talking about is if you look at just drama of humans doing things and it being reported on as something negative, like P. Diddy, exactly. Like, look at their verdict, right? That's drama. I want you to count how many times for each individual story or post or video you come across that involves drama. Count how many times you get those in one day. And you start to wonder why people start to feel negative. You wonder why when it's cloudy and you're already not in a good mood, you feel even worse. And you feel self-conscious about your body, because there's body imaging problems because of social medias of what, you know, people should aspire to be, what people should look like. That's why plastic surgery, there's plastic surgery everywhere. That's why there's unrealistic beauty standards on TikTok. That's why people have eating disorders. Like, I wouldn't say I have a eating disorder, but I do have an issue where I am a workaholic, where I used to skip meals to get work done. Don't be me. That is very bad. Very bad. But yeah, if you count the amount of times that you just come across drama after drama after drama, it's not healthy for the human psyche, because now we have access to the internet. And yeah, I sound like a boomer here. Like, oh yeah, you kids have it so easy. Oh, the internet. You kids don't know how lucky you have it. Like, the internet is actually dangerous for the sake of you have access to so much information that your emotions can sometimes go out of whack because of it. That's why you have public freakouts all the time. We have people tweaking out. You know, it's because it's the energy in the air. And that's why my channel, at least, I'm talking about drama today. But it's not your typical, like, I was joking with Fly Nimbus. I'm not going to hate Fly Nimbus unless he really pisses me off by saying that Fairy Tail isn't the greatest anime of all time. Then I'll fight Fly Nimbus here. But in terms of like drama farming and people using it for clicks, you know, people attacking each other. Also, what's up, Jackson? Welcome to the stream. Yeah. You have the same plushie. Nice. Yeah. Thank you. But it's just like, you have to be careful with the internet. Because the internet will tell you that the internet is so good at glorifying and demonizing a lot of things. Like you know what's perfect drama? Like, that's why drama channels exist and thrive. And some of them are the most popular out there. Like, I'll give you a recent example of a streamer I respected, Pirate Software. The whole drama with him. Oh my goodness, stop killing games. It's like you can't escape. Even the people you thought escaped drama, that were drama free, and then it brings it back. So be careful out there, guys. And that's why like, for me, I want my channel to be good vibes and less drama. Yeah, you cannot escape drama. You cannot escape drama. But what you can do, because like here's the thing. Will evil, it's easy to say, let's stop evil. Let's stop bad people. Evil people will always exist. It's just human nature. You're going to have a lot of bad apples. You have, whether it's from upbringings, maybe they have lavish upbringings that are so awful people, right? We've seen that happen. Or sometimes they're a product of their circumstances. That also could be very true, right? That is the truth of the world. They're always going to exist. Like drama. Drama will always exist. But what can you do about it? Not necessarily stop this from happening. You can prevent it. You can lessen the blow. But evil will still exist. What you do is you encourage good people to encourage more people to thrive. What you do is also become a good person and also create content that isn't necessarily drama free, but like sort of like, yeah, don't stop evil, even if it's Nero's twin. Yeah, pretty much Cinder situation. Oh, Cinder. Yep. Perfect example. Look at that. Mask off moment for Cinder, right? Oh man, I still remember that. That's crazy. Like, it's just like at that point, just be authentic. And look, people, you can be angry. You can have problems with people. I have personal problems with people. It's not even my fault. I try to be friendly with everyone. Some people I just cannot get along with. You know? Their worldviews are completely different from mine. And the way they view me, I've had people look down on me growing up and look at me differently just because, you know, I wasn't like them. I didn't act like them. So I was the black sheep and they would treat me differently. It is what it is. Yeah. And I'm a food truck man. I eat and I shut out at 3 a.m. Yeah, that's fair. That's valid. But for me, okay, but here's the thing. For me though, what I want to do is I still want to create a community, not necessarily that's drama free. I think it's impossible to be a drama free channel, but I will encourage is encouraging unity, conflict resolution, and what it means to be a better person. And I think that's how you beat a lot of these drama farming channels. That's how you beat a lot of negativity and create positivity in the air, in your daily life, and in your personal mindset, your worldview, right? Yeah. Yeah, don't interact with people. Exactly. And also, don't give them your time. That is something that I had to learn the hard way. The people that dragged me down the most in my life were my friends growing up. And I didn't realize it until it was too late. And once I cut them off completely, my life turned around for the better. Yeah, especially because I've mentioned this before. The thing that a lot of people need to learn, money is a currency. You only have a finite amount of money, and that's why you got to budget. You got to watch out for yourself. Same with like if you have a family gathering, right? It's like, hey, do you have time with your brothers until you move out of college and move out for your job, right? So you will see them less. So make sure you spend time with them to appreciate them, right? Because you don't know if you're not gonna see them anymore. The thing that people forget the most is time is finite. Time can run out. And that's why you also got to make sure that maybe you can ignore people. Sometimes you can't if it's like a work environment and you have to deal with like the shitty coworker or shitty boss, right? We all know they're out there. We all do, right? Like I'll speak from experience right now. But one of the jobs I had earlier, it wasn't even a job. It was a club. I had to deal with a lot of BS. But it was my job in my club to do it, you know? Yeah, like a lot of streamers I'm friends with IRL tell me they can't collab with me because my humor's too dark. Communities are supposed to be friends and me at cons and saying text. Yeah, they set the boundary though, which is fair. Yeah, and it sucks. It sucks too, I think, because a lot of people, and I get it to a certain extent. You need to watch your community because your community can go sideways fast, right? If you don't watch it and you don't monitor and don't filter out the right people. Because if unmonitored, the most toxic communities are unfiltered chats, you know, especially on Twitch. Yeah, and it's a good thing to do. But at the same time, I think there's also a point of criticism where it's like, well, if you're not authentic and you do like hanging out with someone, I feel like you should be allowed to hang out with people. You just give this forewarning, like, hey, I'm hanging out with this person. Like that's why I feel like the streaming space is kind of fake a little bit, where sometimes it's the people are awful and they will only hang out with people that will give them benefits and help their communities. But sometimes it could also just be a like, look, I really want to hang out with you, but like my community won't. That you get shoehorned into it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just like it can get a little bit it can get a little bit murky, you know? Because I have friends that I get scared hanging out with them because I get it. Especially when it comes to like my current job. I'm not one. I do have points of criticism when it comes to my full-time job. Everyone does for jobs out there, right? I have a better outlook than them with my current job. I'm in better spirits than them, than a lot of people. But, you know, that's just the reality. I know a lot of people who are very unfiltered, especially when I go, like if I hang out in my workplace, because it's a customer service related role. If I go to my workplace in my free time and I don't hang out with certain friends because I know I'm going to be liable for what they say if I'm caught hanging out with them, you know? So sometimes I'll be like, hey, maybe let's not do that, you know, if they tag along. But I still, like, if it's in a Discord call, if it's off the job, off the clock, then I'll hang out with them. So again, I understand where they're coming from, you know? But like, as long as you set the boundaries and like everyone's fine with it and you communicate that, that's where it gets a little bit murky. But like, again, it's all about like just making sure everyone's good. Yeah. You have no filter when talking, XD. Honestly, that's fair. I've been trying to learn. So I'll tell you this, Jackson. When I first started Twitch, and this is before I got my new setup here, when I first started off at like the very, very beginning, I was so scared of saying, like, cussing and saying a bunch of shit, you know, because I was scared. I'm like, oh, what if I get in trouble for this? What if I lose sponsorships? What if I'm not professional, you know? And I'm just like, why am I letting that bother me, right? I was too preoccupied about like what I can't do instead of like just saying like, fuck it, let's just do it. Let's just hang out, you know? Right? You don't cuss in general. That's fair. I don't either unless I'm trying to stress a point. Like this, how fucking big of an issue dealing with drama is. That's when I'll fucking cuss. It's when I really want to make a fucking point, you know? I'll be like a fucking rated R movie. I'll just start dropping F-bombs like everywhere. But you know what? That's fair. Yeah, but sometimes you have weird takes. That's fair. I have friends too. Sometimes they have some of the craziest takes and I look at them sideways. I'm just like, okay, dude. I love hanging out with you. That's kind of weird. Not gonna lie. That's kind of out of pocket, but you know. Yeah, I have friends like that too, so I understand completely. Like my weird take, and this is my weird take. I don't think the issue right now. Okay, I don't think the issue right now for solving fan service in video games is by censoring fan service. I don't. I think if you want bikini babes and some of the hottest women in video games, you should absolutely be allowed to do that. Now, that being said, I think it is also very acceptable to have very normal looking women, appropriately dressed women in video games too. Because there are differences in genres. There's different types of games. Game developers should be able to make whatever they want, you know? That being said, I also strongly believe if you sexualize women, I also want to push more sexualization of men in video games. Like, you know, hot men. We do have a couple. They're absolutely there. Like Master Chief. Like, we're talking about like the strong characters. Like any Assassin's Creed, right? But like my thing is like, I want more hot men just because I also see it as a way to be like, hey, we can have both. We can bridge the gender divide, you know? Like men and women can be horny as fuck. That is my hot take. Is I believe in equality. A friend of mine has this habit of randomly just start talking about hentai. Yeah, for me, it's talking about cultural changes. Like, I'm not a political person, but I do have thoughts that could be considered political. If you know what I mean. Because, like, there's hot button political topics. I don't talk about those. I don't really care because I know it's never going to get solved because it's just going to be it's a circular argument. There's enough people on both sides. It's not going to change, right? Or if it does change, it's going to get changed back immediately after, you know? Or there's no change at all because the people in power aren't going to let it happen. So there's nothing you can really do. That's why I don't really try and focus on those. But I am very much in support of things like, you know, I am a strong supporter of public transportation, especially if you look at Asia. I think that is the blueprint, especially South Korea. We should have, because I live in the US, intercontinental railway. And you don't have to pay that much, where you can end up a high-speed bullet train almost from Southern California to Florida, 3 hours. You know how crazy that would be? I could see my friends. Yeah. A friend of mine has this habit. Oh, yeah, we already read that. Then other people start voicing and gets weirded out. Yeah. Okay. The thing with... Okay, here's the thing. With hentai, you have to know your audience, right? So, if you're with the bros, if you're with the boys, right? or the girlies, right? If it's just the girls and you're talking about BL hentai, because I know girls like to go crazy with the BL stuff. Yeah, like here's the thing. It's also okay. It's also a thing where it's like read the room. There's a lot of people, especially internet addicted people, who cannot read the room. For heaven's sake. Like, I also know someone who will go straight up. Like, there's a girl around and he'll start talking about, like, the hottest women ever. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, just randomly brought up in conversation. So it makes me even uncomfortable. I'm just like, okay, like this dude, like there are some weird freaking people out there. Yeah. But no, but that's why I said read the room. It also has to be everyone is down for that. You know what I mean? Like if everyone wants to joke around with the favorite hentai, right? Like and crack jokes, that okay, that tracks, right? But when you're like hanging, like, okay, here, you know what? Here's my pet peeve, because I'll give you guys an example, right? I'm in the VC. I'm talking about, well, one of my, here's something about me, guys. I like the otome genre in anime, which is it's female-led anime about like, oh, this girl playing a romance video game ends up in this other world that's basically the romance video game she was playing, and she has to navigate her life while avoiding death and making sure she also makes sure everyone lives happily ever after, right? Favorite genre. I will be talking about the wholesome stuff in anime. I'll be talking about, oh, my favorite shows. Like, I do like talking about, what was it? It was, like, Demon Slayer, Hunter x Hunter, or on High School Host Club. Yeah, or on High School Host Club. Amazing show, right? Middle of that conversation, completely unrelated. Oh my god, dude! Did you see how fucking thick she was? You know, it's just like, oh fuck. We weren't even talking about we're talking about wholesome vibes here, and then you just like look. If the moods are, I like to joke about hentai with my guy friends. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it straight. I do like joking about it because I've seen quite literally everything from also shows too, just in general. Like I've seen a lot of niche anime genres, like everything from cultivation to isekai to shonen to seinen. Seinen, you know, people don't even give it that, sports anime and stuff. So I've seen a lot of shows from all walks of life. Yeah, Bible Black. Yeah. Oh, he's that fucker. Okay. Get him out of here, dude. Get him out of here. What the fuck is he doing mentioning Bible Black? Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Out of nowhere too. Yeah, we say it. Wait, like I just want to. Oh no. Okay, I see what you mean, Jackson. Yeah, he's one of those guys. Okay. Yeah. Oh. Well, that's the funny thing. Some hentai stories are actually pretty good. Like genuinely, the story. Like, look. Yeah. They do the deed. They do the deed, absolutely. But sometimes the stories, it's like, damn, you got me hooked. Okay. Yeah. Some of it does have some interesting things. What was I gonna say? Oh, Bungo Stray Dogs. Yeah. I don't know. To me, it sounds Jackson. It sounds like there's someone suffering from I have to term a word for it, you know? We should be mocking these people because I feel like when because I used to be part of the early age of anime fandom. Not the earliest, not even the early 2000s, but I was like early 2010s. That was me in anime. I remember everyone joking about stuff, and we would joke about very vulgar like hentai stuff and like fans are, yeah, we joke about it. We joke like High School DxD. I grew up with that in high school, you know? We joke about that, right? But again, it's like everyone, it's done purposeful, where it's very tasteful, and we're just joking about it. I feel like now we're in a culture where we normalized it, and like people are like, oh, I'm proud. I wear my Gooner flag with pride. You know, we got the Goon Squad over here, right? There are people way too like I see more and more people with hentai shirts out and sweatshirts, and I'm like, you're fucking public. There's kids around. What the fuck? You know, if you went to like a 21 plus club or 18 plus club, I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. I just think you're fucking weird, you know. GTO, great teacher Onizaku, amazing show. I probably said that. Is it Onizaku or is it Onizuka? I can never get the last. I'm just gonna say GTO, great teacher. You know what I'm talking about. That one is a great one. Anime is great. I will say very sus. Onizuka. Okay, I did get it right the second time. Yeah, Onizuka. I still think the first episode, the first pilot, sus as fuck. It is very sus. I think it mellows out because they realize what people want. And yeah, no. That one's a great one. Have you guys heard of Golden Boy? Same thing. I love Golden Boy to death. Golden Boy's good. I don't know. I just, yeah, because it's fun. It's funny because the humor, but also I just love the main character. Like, what does he say? Looking back at it, it's cringe. What do you mean it's cringe? I still think it's funny. Because then it ends up like he can never stay in a place for a long time. So he doesn't end up with any of the women. And the women actually just try and chase him down. I think it's funny. Oh yeah, no. Teenage, yeah. When did I watch Golden Boy? I think this was in college. That's probably why I liked it. And I did like it because it did feature predominantly older adult women, you know. That for me, if you want to know a fun fact about me, look, I'm not a gooner per se, but if I had it, if you want to know my type in terms of like my waifus or like the anime women I'm attracted to or the manhwa women, I'm actually more attracted to manhwa women because they're all in their like early to late 20s. Yeah, I'm into the MILFs. I'm sorry. And that's why I appreciate Golden Boy, because Golden Boy had like a lot of the adult women that were not only hot, but fucking smart. And they had something going for them, you know? I don't know. And I just love, I don't know. I just think when he's like swimming and he comes up, he's like, so how'd I do? After that pathetic attempt swimming, right? Okay. Hold on. I'm allow. Late 20s, not be MILFs. Well, okay. I said adult women, so I said early to late 20s. But I'm into... No, I'm talking about the genre. So what I like about Golden Boy is the women there are based in the early to late 20s. A lot of manhwa women are based in the early to late 20s. For me, I like late 20s or MILFs, which are in their 30s or late 30s. It'd be more late 30s, right? There we go. Let me clarify my point here. I'm more on the older spectrum. For me, my taste is like I don't know. I've been, and this is like sort of like the manhwa boom for me, and that's why I've been more into webtoons and web comics. I just like the idea of having like an older woman who is mature, who is very independent and can kick ass. You know what I mean? Like Cowboy Bebop, exactly. Cowboy Bebop, amazing show, classic show right there. You know, grew up on that. The movie was insane. But like, was it that one girl from the movie? Yeah. His taste is 45 soccer mom with the hair haircut. Honestly, that's okay with me. That's okay with me. Yeah. The only thing is she just has to be responsible and like badass. There we go. There we go. That is my type. That is my type. Yeah. So, and I also love it too, because my type is the complete opposite of like, unfortunately, there's a lot of, I don't know. I get fucking weirded out. I talked about drama. I'm not going to go into it, but I am not the biggest fan. She's going to call for your manager. Oh, she can call for my manager any day. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. More time with her. But I don't know. I've always been, I also find it weird too. Like all jokes aside, that, okay. I thought it was fun because I grew up with Konosuba, okay? Konosuba is peak. And yeah, Megumin is a, I would consider Megumin a lolly, okay? Right? Granted, there's some like younger looking lollies out there, right? Or I guess lolly's not the right term, because lolly is like, what is it? Like the older women, it's Lolita, right? That, so it's based off fashion to make you look younger, right? But since people use lolly as a blanket term, I'm just gonna use it as is. I'm so glad I'm not one of these fucking lolly content creators or a lolly anime enthusiast, because they're fucking weird as shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've heard the argument for both. You know, I've heard the argument for both. Because some people use it as a broad spectrum. Some people refer to it just as Lolita fashion. Which is like, you know, the dresses and stuff. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is Dress Up Darling. You know, that kind of like style of dress, right? Gothic, you know, Gothic Lolita. But yeah, no, it is. I also seen it used an example as body type. But I don't know. Some people are like, oh, I go into that shit. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Someone call the FBI, please. So some people feel way too, and I get it. People are like, it's a drawing. You're not hurting anyone. I'm like, yeah, but there's like a principle behind it. Yeah, but that's Kuro Kawaii. Is that it? What's okay? Let me look this up. I'm not too familiar with it because again, I'm just like, I don't care. Kuro Kawaii. Okay, I see what you mean, kind of. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. Cool. Okay, so lolly is the body type then. Okay. Good to get that clarified. My point still stands though. I still think it is weird as shit. Okay. And yeah, like people who defend it, they're like, oh yeah, like my type is lolly. I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, Mitchell. Yeah. What? Okay. By the way, Mitchell's my real name, but like, let me go by my actual name too. Seyorias. My girlfriend's dressed like that sometimes. Oh, nice. Nice. But yeah, so there are some people who are way too comfortable. They're like Seyorias. What is it? From Masamune-kun? Have you seen the mom from Masamune-kun, by the way? Yeah, she is the definition of lolly. Okay. I do not mess with that. Fuck that. I'm like, that's not a MILF. Fuck off. Like that's crazy. But yeah, no, I personally just, yeah, lolly characters, most of the time they're stupid or head. Well, okay. That's the difference though. Because early anime fans, I recognize, yeah, they're fucking weirdos, but for the most part, people, when they joke about lolly, they're like, oh, they're just cute, right? And they're stupid, and they like to cause trouble, right? They're like kind of like puppies. You don't want to fuck the puppies. You know? That's the issue I have. Is like, they're like, oh, we want to fuck lollies. It's like, what? What? I'm like, you just made it weird. We're all having a good time over here. You know, we're just like, hey, you know, we just love the character tropes. It's just like, yeah, okay. So you know what I mean then. Or no. It's Dress Up Darling, but it's the, what is it? The second girl, the one that dresses up as the cosplayer, right? Yeah, they just be stupid. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's where I'm like, okay. Back or what's that one meme? It's like, hey, run that back by me. You know the Dark Side meme and Superman meme? Say, hey, run back. Pause. What the fuck did you just say? You know? Because there's a lot of shows that do stray on that. And I get pissed off too when a show actually leans into a romance with a lolly type character. Fuck, you know? And I'm talking too when it's like I don't know. Like, granted, it's whatever. If it's like, I will say you can make somewhat of an argument if it's like a girl who's like mature because she's like an adult and she's just short, right? There's an argument to be made if they're like, oh yeah, no, she's an adult, right? But then if she's like an actual child, then it's like, okay, fuck off. My favorite Kanata Izumi. I'm looking this up, okay? Oh, yeah. You could have just said Lucky Star, you know? I know what Lucky Star is. We love that little shit, okay? Lucky Star Peak, okay? Yeah, the intro is amazing. Yeah, no, I understand. I understand completely. Yeah, but again, it's good vibes. It's good vibes. Don't make it weird. It's good vibes. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I do have extensive anime knowledge, though. I do not have a life, so I do have an extensive knowledge of useless knowledge about anime, including a amount of shows. And I told you, I've seen a lot of shows. Yeah. Oh, really? Nice. Here's the thing, because we're on the topic, right? My senpai is annoying. Is also one thing where I'm kind of like, okay, I'm okay with this because she's clearly an adult woman, like depicted as one. She's an office worker. They say, oh yeah, she's just a small. It's more lends itself to the style of she's like a little like cute. Like she's short but cute, right? One is Monster. Good one. Monster's good. Serial Experiments Lane. Both I need to watch. Both I've gotten recommended to me. It's on my ever-growing short and petite. Yeah. Which, okay. The argument I also that I've seen that I'm like, okay, that's fine, I guess, is as long as it's depicted like my senpai's annoying, where it's like, oh, it's a short businesswoman. But if you know, like Asian women and Asian people can get really short. They can be short and petite and cute in that regard. So, like, what was that one meme? Yeah. No, I already know a lot about that. I know a lot about that, Coral. My brother read that and he tried getting me to watch it. I said, fuck no, okay? He said, it's not what you think. And I know it's not what I think, but it's still weird as fuck for me. And I don't know. It's not my type of show. Yeah, I just think it's fun. I'm Asian. Okay, yeah. So you know, Asians can be short. Yep. I'm 5'8", so what is that? Because if you're... Oh, we gotta crunch numbers. Okay. Yeah, 5'5". I'm like 3 inches on you. 5'8". Yeah, 5'8". Yeah. That's kind of okay. That's kind of where I'm at though. Cause I'm 5'8", and again, there are people definitely taller than me. I do also understand. Look, I'm not a short king. Like I respect the short kings. I feel like they're my dwarves. You know. That's how I view short people. Is that a weird thing to say? Like I mean it in full respect. I call them. They're like, and I mean dwarves as in fantasy dwarves. Okay, I'm not talking about the other ones. I'm talking about fantasy dwarves, my short kings out there. Because even though they may be short in stature, they're some of the most chillest, down-to-earth people you will ever meet. Like, in any fantasy story, note how the dwarves forge these weapons for humans to go on raids, and other races too, right? With metalworking. You look at the elves, the tall kings, they're assholes. They're isolationists. They don't want to fucking help you most of the time. Most of the time, they're antagonists, right? Down to earth. Did not mean it that way, but now that you bring it up, yeah. Yeah, the Mines of Moria, good sir. The Mines of Moria. Beckon. No, but my short kings do deserve more love. And I get it can also be a complex thing where you think height will change it. Because a lot of women are like, I'm only gonna date a dude that's 6 foot taller than 6 feet. And it's like, I get a lot of women are taller. Sometimes a lot of men are shorter than them and they don't want that in a relationship. But they're gonna learn fast that not only are there less tall men out there that are above 6 foot in the world, but also, what percentage of them are awful people? Because they're privileged. And privileged people, in my experience, you can also... It's very mixed. You can have some of the worst people out there. I've met some fine, tall people who are super chill and down to earth. Technically up from earth. But, yeah, like, I think genuinely, I think it's just a complex thing as long as you put yourself out there, even if you are a short king, you know? I love hanging out with a lot of my friends who are shorter than me. And if they just stay true to themselves, because I love hanging out with them, I guarantee you a lot of the self-confidence issues, they're going to realize, hey, people will actually come to like them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nastrovim to my Russian king on YouTube. Nice. Hey, they don't deserve more love because I remember being in high school, all the girls were instantly going for this shot. Brother, give that love to the rest of them. Are we talking about tall people here? Because all I'm saying is like, it's... What's up to you, Jackson? Yeah, so I don't know. We have to see what's going on. So This was like a weird tangent going into height. It's funny. We went from lollies to height. I think because we were talking about stature. I also seen people though. Some people are super tall. Like I've seen people at 8 foot. It's like, how do you live life uncomfortably at that height? Because it's like, okay, you have to duck for everything. You can't go through doorways normally, right? You have to get through like different types of drinks and stuff, right? Oh yeah, are you guys now seeing each other? Because I have multi chat going on. Height is yay or nay for me. Either I'm too tall nor too short. I'm above average. It's like a weird face. Well, I'm kind of with you, Coral. Because if I'm 5'8", it's not like I'm short by me. I'm like almost touching the tippy top of 5'9". Like the border between 5'8" and 5'9", but I'm not quite 5'9". That being said, I also am around the same height. Yeah, I don't know. For my gender, I feel like I'm like kind of mixed. You know, I thought I'd be on the shorter end growing up. No, I did have a little bit of a growth spurt. And so I'm a little bit taller. Now, granted, my younger cousins, before I saw them, I didn't see them for a couple years because I was off at college. I come back to see them. They're taller than me by like a foot. They used to be 2 feet. I kid you not, like 2 feet shorter than me. Now they're like a whole foot taller than me. And I'm like, okay, that's crazy. I can get stuff from the top shelf in the supermarket with a ladder from my girl. I'm not short by any means, but I'm 6'3", bare feet. When compared to others in my family, I'm more just above average. Okay. Okay, no need to flex, Coral. I see 6'3" over here. Okay. Yeah, I do also have the advantage. If I go on my tippy toes, I can go maybe grab the nearest thing on the top shelf of like my closet. That is my flex. I've also been one to be able to put up umbrellas by myself and push them up by myself. Especially when it's like an outdoor setting. That is a flex of mine because some people are way too short to even push it all the way up. And I can do that. Yeah, genuinely, I don't care about height because in Russia, it's not how tall you are. Never a big popular thing. You get what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, okay. Maybe it's also like cultures, right? Sometimes cultures, they're different, right? On how they approach. I know American culture, they put huge stress on height. And I think it's more just the beauty standard. Like women are like, well, there's no beauty standards for men, right? And granted, I will love to concede to the argument that, yeah, women probably have a higher expectation when it comes to beauty standards than men do. Absolutely. In terms of makeup, in terms of hair. Some of it, yeah, self-inflicted, but some of it is also very much societal, right? For men, I think it's height. That is the biggest thing. The biggest thing for men, it's height and having confidence. That is the expectations desired from men. Lots of men don't have that. If you don't have height, the only thing going for you is confidence. And if you don't have that, then it's over. You know what I mean? Yeah, my dad is 9. I don't know what the feet that is. I can pull that up right now, Jackson. 6'4". 6'4". I think for men, it's height, hair color, eye color. I don't even think it's hair color. I will say it's more... Oh, okay. For men, it's... I think for men, it's height, confidence, and I will say a third. The next third thing is strength. If you work out at all. You don't even have to be super fit. You just can't be unhealthy. You know? Really? The third leg? Wait, what are we talking about, Jackson? Oh, I mean the third example. Dang. I've also, okay, but like, here's the thing. I've also heard weird things from women and Jackson's. Where they also go based on constellations and what your sign is, and I think that's the dumbest shit. You know what? Okay, to me, okay, here I'm gonna bash women real quick, but I'm also gonna bash men because men do the same thing just differently. I think the dumbest shit that women have done for their dating is based off their relationships on whether it will be successful or not, and tolerate a lot of bad behavior based on a dude's constellation. If they're an Aries, you know, my sign resonates with Aries, so we're destined to be together. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck no. That's not how this works. That's stupid. For men, it's like, oh, she's nice to me this first time. She likes my interests, my exact interests. That means we're gonna get together, you know? We'll have no problems, you know? It also is body type. Absolutely. For men, I think more than women, body type 2 is huge. Like, if a girl's hot, you're gonna excuse a lot of shit. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I feel like you guys are leaving me in the dark on purpose. But I do appreciate being called wholesome, okay? That is pretty nice. Yeah, that's why I'm all the signs. Come curl, Google search what signs pair with each other. Helps guys a lot. Yeah. I don't know, but if you're using that to like make major life decisions, I don't know. I think that's kind of... I think that's stupid. It's like the same guys are like, if your girl's not a 10 out of 10, what are you doing? You know, it's like, what is a 10 out of 10? Is it like the hottest girl in your opinion? Like, and what is she attracted to? Your wealth? Is that why she ends up with you? You know? I think a lot of guys overlook that. They think they're just going to get with the hottest girl and call it a day. And I'm like, yeah. My girlfriend's bestie had to tell me she likes me. Oh. Oof. I wonder how that happened. Like my stance, yeah, the only 10 was Keira Knightley from Pirates of the Caribbean because that was my top 3. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair though. That's fair. Yeah. I don't know. For me, it's always been too, like, I feel like men and women are... So I have a weird worldview. I think men and women are both equally stupid. It's just sometimes they're in different ways. You know what I mean? When it comes to relationships. And like beauty standards and stuff. Like women thinking that like... For example, it's like women thinking that men who, you know... dress a certain way and act rudely to others, like they can fix them because they're hot and they know how to dress themselves, are the same people for like the same equivalent on the men's side is the girl with daddy issues, but she's a goth girl, you know? It's the bad boy versus the goth girls. Who's gonna fucking win? You know what I mean? Trust me, I can fix her. Right? Both sides have done that. Men have done that with the goth girls. And I've told them, don't do it. She's a Hello Kitty girly. And it's like, I didn't see bro again. It was over. She hadn't blocked me. Like, it was bad. And then you have like on the other side, like the poor girlies that get heartbroken that the bad boy cheated on them. Who could have seen that coming? The dude who dresses doesn't respect women and has had known track record of cheating, you know? It's like you kind of can tell these things from awful people, you know? So sometimes you gotta learn the hard way. Because again, I think beauty standards are kind of, I think honestly, beauty standards, the worst thing that it has done is it made humans focus, and social media has definitely escalated this. It made humans focus on the wrong things, which is just the physical appearances of someone, which do have value. To pretend they do not have value is quite literally one of the stupidest things you could have done. You could say. But what I will say, there's also the inner beauty that I think gets overlooked. And yeah, a lot of people just glance over that. And after I fainted after drinking a shot at a friend's birthday party, we sat outside in the cold in the winter before we got a cab. She brought me home and just chilled. We watched Fairy Tail for the rest of the night and next day. That's so hype though. The fact that you watched Fairy Tail with her, okay, that's a dub right there, Jackson. You ever been with a girl but you couldn't get out since she had problems, so you faked being drafted to the army, just moved away from her, and she still thinks you died? That's crazy, Coral. What the hell? Next day she told me she wanted to be together. That's a dub, Jackson. That's a dub. Yeah. Hey, you know, that's how you know it's a keeper. Because Fairy Tail is goated. Yeah, Fairy Tail is a good show. And also Fairy Tail shows you prime example of like what you should value in people, right? Yeah. That was my solution to the trust I can fix her, and it worked, and I'm still believing. All right, Coral, whatever works, I guess. That's kind of a wild story. Yeah, but I don't know. I've always been, when it comes to relationships, my advice has always been is like, at the end of the day, do whatever you want, because I'm not going to say shit. You know what I mean? Like, live your life, kings and queens. But also, just be aware, you know, things are going to happen. And your best indicator to know if a relationship is working or not is whether you feel comfortable. And you will know that feeling deep down. You cannot lie to yourself that you feel comfortable. It's something that is very true in your heart. That is, yeah, this is unpleasant, right? Listen to that, because that will be your indicator if it's working out or not. And then you have to make a decision. Yeah. Fairy Tail is elite, and I'm only going to watch a special someone. That's fair. Since almost 14. That's a dub, Jackson. That's a dub. That's so cool. Yeah, Fairy Tail is a special type of show. I still think it is in my opinion, I have to preface this because people are going to argue with me. But in my opinion, I still think it's the greatest anime of all time. Because it did save me from a very tough place. I was in a very tough place at one point in my life. And Fairy Tail came along and rescued me. So I have a lot of respect for Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail has done so much for me. Higurashi. When they cry. Oh. Okay. I recognize the name Jackson. I don't think I've seen Higurashi. I love the visual novel. Okay. All right, I'm going to add it to the list then of my ever-growing watch list. Yeah, that's why Seo didn't understand the previous joke. He's too young and too untamed. I am 24 years old, sir. I'm not too young. I know I look like it because I'm Asian. I do get the Asian genes where I do look much younger than I am. But I do like how I am too. I do like the idea of being untainted. That is kind of nice. I think I'm in that because like look, if I tell someone who's in high school I'm 24, yeah. You could just read the first chapter for free. Okay. It's on Steam. All right. I'll try. I'll look into it, Jackson. That's crazy, Coral. We're around the same age. Yeah. Well, okay. I don't blame you guys because I once was 21 and I went to an elementary school for a school project to help out. I was covering bullying in school and how we can take measures to help prevent that by fostering a helpful community. These kids thought I was like 15. I was 21. I was like, granted they were all in 3rd grade, but I was like, that's crazy. And then I had older people think I was like 21 when I'm 24. So it's like, okay. Yeah, that there's also an age thing. Like here's the thing. For me, when it comes to types, because they're like, oh, what's your type of women, right? I'm always like, I always feel weird having these conversations. But I said my type was Mills, right? I don't have a racial type. I have an age type, and I have a maturity type. I don't have an age type. Or one of the students? Well, what are you talking about? Are we talking about like when they thought I was like 15 when I was 21? And also, mind you, my look usually, I mean, I'm growing it out a little bit. I'm probably going to shave tomorrow. But I usually go clean shaven. And I spike my hair and put on some lotion. I look so much younger. Yeah. Well, some kids are monsters. Have you seen some, like... There's some middle schoolers that are, like, taller than me. I'm like, what are you eating? You know? Are you eating Jack's giant beanstalk? You know what I mean? Like, are you eating the magical beans from, what is it, Puss in Boots? Is that what's giving you the height? Like, I remember... I haven't grown that much, and like there's some monsters out there, right? There's 6-foot middle schoolers. I'm like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's crazy. Yeah, so I guess I was a little bit shorter. I also, okay. What's weird too is I think what helps too, my beard game is also weak. Jackson, you mentioned you're Asian. Our beard game is going to be weak regardless, okay? We already lost the beard competition, okay? the most we can do is like maybe a little goatee. That's it. That's it. We already lost the genetics competition, dude. Okay. But yeah, I also think like, okay, when you grow older too, I think in your 20s, it also is, I gotta go to your mustache. Yeah. It's not like a lumberjack beard though, right? You know what I mean? Like some people can grow, I've never seen an Asian muster a lumberjack beard. Like, it's just not in our genetics. That's max. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It really is. But yeah, my point is that so I also notice that people judge age based on how you act, right? If you act a little bit more careless, you have more energy, people are going to see you as younger, versus if you're more calm, a little bit more dead inside, especially when you're in the professional and you have a full-time job. That's what I recognize too, because my coworkers like, we thought you were younger. And it's because you have all this energy and you're very upbeat all the time. It's like, well, I just try to stay upbeat because I'm like, what's the alternative? You know what I mean? Like, what's the alternative? Depression? Like, I don't want to always be depressed. I don't want to be like mellow, because I've already done that song and dance in high school and I fucking hated it. Okay, I just don't like, you know, it's a mental thing. It's a mentality. Don't put yourself in that mental state, because it will do more harm than good. Be upbeat. Try your best to, you know, maybe not bubbly. I'm bubbly sometimes, but you know, have confidence. My dad's black, full bearded, 6'4", serious and strict all time. Nice. Does he have like does he have a thick lumberjack beard though? Is it like that thick one? Yep. Okay. Yeah. Oh, he's a oh, okay, okay, no. So he got the lumberjack beard. Okay, okay. You just said he's a biker, already sold. Okay, I understand completely. Also long. Yeah, fits the criteria. Fits the criteria for sure. Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of people... Okay. This is also a thing for me. Growing up, a lot of people underestimated me. Because as a kid, I didn't like being involved in drama, even growing up. But I found myself in drama because I was just non-confrontational. I just didn't want to get in trouble because of the no tolerance policy too at school. So I just let kind of things happen to me. And I was just like, whatever, you know? So, yeah. It was also, so people also saw me as a little bit scrawnier and weaker, even though I was like pretty fit. Like, I'm actually more fit back then than I am now, because I was very athletic. I did soccer, I did baseball. Yeah. Yeah. Me, kind of chubby, 5'6", sound engineering dude working on short movies. Advertising, on set, sound, and sound design, XD. Yeah. Dude, that's sick though. You're working on short movies and advertising. Sound engineering. So I majored in film and television, so I know everything about filmmaking. Sound is probably, in my opinion, it's one of the toughest aspects of a film. Just because you have to pay attention to every little detail. And yeah. Yeah, it can be very difficult because I don't have a good sense of hearing, so I could never really be the best at sound engineering, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah, you love it. That's good. I have a friend that's kind of like you. He's focusing just on sound, and he loves it too. You just have to have like a knack for it, and you have to have the talent for it. Unfortunately, I that's why I'm preferred. I also learned I'm more of a visual learner too. I'm more into the visuals of a film and doing the visual component. That's why I did streaming. Like, I just looked up a bunch of videos to fix, like, calibrate my mic here. But streaming, I love it because I'm talking to a camera and I can edit. That's my thing. Maybe I'll add some sound effects here and there, but for me, it's always about the visuals. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what the worst place to be as a sound engineer is? You know where it is on a film? Right next to the airport. We love, and you're doing it out. Yeah. Whenever you can hear airplanes or sirens going by and it ruins that shot. Oh. Or ruins whatever you're working on, whatever project you're working on. That's very fun. I love when that happens because then it pushes back everyone and everyone ends up being stressed. I don't know how to get my visuals right. Honestly, like, look. So before, here, I'll show you something. So before when I was doing my room, so this is earlier streams. I'm still trying to figure out my visuals, okay? But I would have the lights on behind me. But personally, I just don't like how it looks behind me. You know what I mean? Because I look at some of the other streamers. So what I did is I looked at several big ones. Now, granted, I'm not going to say like I'm a big fan of everyone. But I've just been studying them based on like the most successful ones, right? So I made a list of just the biggest streamers out there. So I did Ludwig, Hassan, Asmongold. I've seen Tectone. So I've just listed off just the biggest creators. Valkyrie. Who's another one? Emeriu, like just anyone in the LA sphere, I guess. So you just go down the list and I look at their stream setups. As much as I don't really like Asmongold too much because of his takes, I do like his setup because it's just a dark background, which is what I'm trying right now. A dark background with lights on me. I try to do Ludwig setup because Ludwig has the room behind where you can customize sort of the shelf right behind you. But I don't know. I tried doing that. I've also tried doing CDog VA's setup a little bit, but I feel like right now, like this stream, I'm testing it with the lights off. I'm liking this a lot more with just lights on me and less behind me. So you're just focusing in on me as opposed to like what's behind me, right? Asmon's a hit or miss. I just don't like. It's not necessarily Asmon I don't like. I just don't like the reaction to Asmon sometimes. Like the drama surrounding Asmon, because I just don't want to be involved in drama. That's just my thing. I like his setup and I do like his thoughts on video games. I think he does have a lot. I think also he does a great job on commentary, right? I just don't like the drama he involves himself with. So I could never really get behind him personally, because I know how people feel about him. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's all the drama content. Okay. Yeah. To be fair though, here I think we can all agree though, Drama Alert's probably the worst of the worst. I grew up watching Drama Alert because I was an edgy teenager back then. Yeah. I think Drama Alert is much, much worse than Asmon.
Hey Meta, what is this? Artwork.
By the way, Jackson, I think I found your channel. Yeah, I found your channel, dude. I'm gonna take a look. I won't pull it up on stream, because I don't want to steal from you. But I'm just gonna check up your setup. Yeah, but every time he's going into drama, he's being involved. Yeah, that's what I just don't. I just don't like dealing with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he's in the wrong. I'm not saying he's in the right. But what I am saying is I just don't like how it's drama. Dude, I'm not going to criticize you. There's an ad playing before too. You enabled ads. Which also, congratulations. It seems like you're doing pretty well on Twitch. Yeah, and thanks for the follow, dude. I appreciate it, Jackson. Like, is GER, is that, what does that stand for? German / English, right? Well, I mean, I've also haven't been streaming too much, Jackson. I will say you probably have a better starting soon screen than me. I just have this thing right here, the generic ass one. Yeah, German. That's what I thought. Yeah. So I'm going to be honest here. Fine. I'll pull it up. Okay. I'm going to be honest. I think you're fine. Like this right here is good. Cause I told you the alternative, right? This is mine. It's just the basic one. Yeah. Yeah, this is good. Like, this is what I have right here. I even am more lazy than you, right? Because if I go full webcam, I just have like the text to the side and then my webcam with stuff behind me. You know what I mean? Yeah, no. That's what I mean. That's good. I just did the basic, the basic one from own.3D, the free software. I took a template. I didn't do anything. But no, I like your setup. Here, let me move this so it's like a little bit more to the side. Here, I'm gonna blow it up so you can see a little bit. Okay. Yeah. No, everything looks good. Love how you're talking about what is it? The Iron Fortress anime. Underrated as hell. Yeah. I like your... See, honestly, I think you have a better setup than me. I'm not gonna lie. So the way I framed mine... Because look, so this is what I did. Because this is my third time doing streaming. Like, this is my first time doing it seriously. The other times I was dipping my toes in. And like giving it a shot. You know what I mean? But if I go to my stream right now... What I love to do is I look at the biggest streamers that I can find that are kind of within the niche I'm trying to tackle. It's about a con going to another country. Oh, is it the guy right there? Oh, is he the voice actor that's going to be there? Is that why? Let's see. He's the singer of the opening song. Oh, nice. Yeah, so okay, so the way I do it, so it's just tough because you also have to find like the perfect channel to like look at. Like, I mean, it's tough to tell with So Miskiff is also one I've been looking at. So if you look right here, like here's Miskiff, right? What is this? I don't like his stream set. I don't know what these numbers are. I think this is when you get big enough and you start writing like, I think, number of subs or number of viewers or whatever, right? This is something like that, right? Um, so personally, I'm more of, I like Asmongold setup a lot, and this is where I steal mine from, just because look, it's just a dark background. Like me right now, like I'm in the top right. So if I was doing commentary, which I'm not going to be a drama channel, so I don't think I'm going to lean too much into commentary with like current events, but I do like to talk about anime a lot. But yeah, like for example, this game changed my life. He's just talking about the horse racing like game. I saw it was on your channel too. Everyone's playing it like crazy, right? But like I do like Asmon's setup where it's like, oh, you're in the corner like me right here. But I actually borrowed mine, not even from Asmon. I just borrowed the kind of background where there's like, it's not lit behind me, but I'm lit, just from a visual perspective. Cause it's like, I don't want too much of a focus because there's not enough interesting things going on behind me. I'm going to be completely honest. Yeah. Ume Musume Peak. Yeah. Yeah. From what I've heard, yeah. So the way I do my visuals, because streaming is a whole different game from like making movies. That's like a whole different, it's like a whole different aesthetic, right? Here. Where is he? So I like, well, that's not a good, I like Ludwig because no, I want to find one of his normal stream. Okay, yeah. So I like Ludwig's stream here. So I'm going to show another example here. Right. I like Ludwig's setup here because that's what I'm doing right now. Been there since watching the first season. Dude, so you're one of the OGs then. That's hype, Jackson. That's awesome. But yeah. So I also kind of stole from Ludwig. So mine's a combination of... It's weird and it's funny because I know there's drama between the two. Both are involved in the same drama. So it's kind of funny. But I am borrowing from both of them aesthetically. I don't care about the drama. I don't want... We had this conversation. I don't want to be involved in the fucking drama. But like looking at the screen right now, I do like how I look right now. Because you see the chat, you can see what you're typing, Jackson. But then I look over here and I look at what like Ludwig is doing and I'm like, okay, cool. He has a lit background because he has stuff to show. I don't really have too much to show behind me, so I'm going to be in the corner. You know what I mean? So I don't mind it. I genuinely do not mind it. So when I look at your stream, I think you're doing fine. Like, I think it's dope. I actually like your chat window. You can see yourself pretty well. If you want any criticism, the only thing I would change visually is like, look, for me as a viewer, I can see both of these. I can see the chat right here in Twitch automatically and your chat here. You don't need the chat to be this big on your screen. And that's what someone told me too. So what I did for like what I stole from Ludwig is I tried like if you see my screen right now, here, let me turn off the monitor real quick. Okay. If you see my screen right now, you can see like maybe 5 lines of text, but that's it. It takes up maybe half my screen. I wouldn't even change the camera position. What I would do is I would first make the lines a little bit, and then I would shrink yours to be more of a box. I also tried the rectangle thing. I'm going to be honest, did not work. I don't know if you do OBS or whatever, but I would just make this a box like mine. You can I think the border's fine. I personally don't do a border. I think your border's fine. Yeah, just make sure you crop yours a little bit because you already go, like I was looking at your stream, right? you already go full screen. Where is it? Let's go back a little bit. I think it's awesome you talk about the con. Oh, nice. Stellar Blade. Peak. Nice. I need to find when you like show off your like most of your is it when you end stream? I just need to find a moment when... Okay, here. I'm going to jump to this one. Okay, I'm going to let this play because it's an ad. I'll switch it. But yeah, OBS. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, for real, for real. I just told Ludwig himself and then he started laughing, so I gave him back. Yeah, OBS. Okay. Yeah, so for OBS, honestly, because like the thing I learned the most, the thing with streaming, just make it simple. Like the thing you should strive for isn't like, not even necessarily like doing too much with what you want to do per se. Like don't go over the top if you don't have big productions, because you're like, oh, I want to be like a big streamer and like do all these streams like Ludwig and stuff. But I also have to tell myself, and I learned this the hard way, just keep it simple. We're small streamers, right? I would say you're a bigger streamer. You're more successful than me right now, Jackson. You're doing great. Like good job, dude. But like, for example, like if I look right here, if I have any feedback, it's just like this all looks good. I would just keep talking. I don't know if you post on, if you have a YouTube, but like something I'm going to work on is posting I'm going to show my clips, my VODs on Twitch, and I'm going to post them on YouTube and start farming some people from YouTube to come over here, even though I multi-stream on YouTube, like Coral is joining me. Yeah. So just keep it simple. Honestly, all you need to do is just keep going, dude. Just keep going, keep talking, keep posting your clips. Eventually, like just keep going. And people are going to catch up. Like, you're already doing a great job. You're already on the right track. Just keep going, dude. You're on a podcast. Oh, awesome. Yeah. That's great, dude. That's super dope. Yeah, because, like, if you stress... Like, this is what I learned, too. If you stress yourself out too much, like, you make little tweaks here and there. But, like, I look at Ludwig... Look what's set up. And I'm just like, okay. Hold on. Let me go like this. Yeah. If I go Ludwig setup right here. He's not doing anything crazy. People are trying to do like all these borders with these extra band. Most of the big streamers are just like this. They're not doing anything too crazy. So if they're not doing anything crazy, I think what you're doing is fine. Like, you have all the basics, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, but management topic-wise and team coordination, that's important, though. That's still a function. So take pride in that, dude. Like, you're doing great. Like, I think it's impressive you made your own intro. Like, super dope, dude. Like, you're already ahead of the game. Like, I just use the basic stuff. And I just talk. That's my thing. I just talk and talk and talk and talk. And, like, my thing is I'm realizing people like to hear me talk. I just need to... Discoverability sucks on Twitch. So I just got to post it on YouTube where I talk more and more and more and more and more. Yeah. It's also with my own music. Yeah. And that's awesome. You know? Yeah, do you do your own music? Because all I'm doing is the way I do my music for my stream, at least, is I just do this. I'm gonna see if it lets me post it. Okay. Yeah, it did. Yeah. It's just Mario Kart 8 hours. I just have that in the background. So I don't do too much. I just, again, I keep it simple. I'm like, hey, video game music does not get copyright struck. We're going with video game music. What do people like? Especially if I'm going to be more of an Asian pop culture guy. Nintendo. People love Mario. Let's do some Mario music. You know, you can't go wrong with that. And so I just find playlists on YouTube and use it as background music. And it works. So yeah, I'm looking at your stream. That looks cool. The fact that you have latest follower, latest sub, and latest donation. Oh my gosh, you're already kicking my butt, dude. Like, but here's the thing. It's not necessarily that no one is chatting. Sometimes it could also be they're just lurking. And that's okay too, because it could also be a them thing. Because I know I've lurked in lots of streamers' chats before. I haven't said anything. I'm too scared to say anything, especially if like no one else is typing. But I still want to watch the stream. You know what I mean? So I would just say keep it up, keep talking. If no one's saying anything in chat, like when I started, I had no one in chat. But I just kept going and I just kept talking ad nauseum about like, it was funny. I got like raided because I started talking about Chipotle all of a sudden. And how like Chipotle has like the best, one of my favorite, my favorite carbonated drinks. And that's the Blackberry Izzies that they sell. Oh my gosh, they're so great. I love the Blackberry Izzies at Chipotle. Like just stuff like that, you know. Caught me right. I wasn't calling you out, Leone. But thanks for stopping by, Leone. I'm not talking about you in a bad derogatory way. I'm just saying, look, hey, I do the same thing, Leone. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I didn't mean to do that to you. No. It's fine. It's fine. As long as you're like playing the game and you're doing something, you know? Like my rule of thumb, if you want to challenge yourself, Jackson, what my rule of thumb is for streaming is, and I've been breaking this rule. I've been just doing chatting. But do just chatting for 1 hour. Talk about anything. Just find a topic, talk. And just talk for an hour by yourself. People are going to jump in and then play your games. And if you do that every stream, you'll start to talk more when people start chatting to you. And all it takes is just talking. Yeah. Well, to me, what I realized, it's easier to talk when you play games when people are typing in chat. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, you can do 6 hours. Yeah, practice doing that. Like 1 hour of just chatting to start the stream about a random topic, then play your game, and then at the end, talk for an hour. Yeah. Or if you could do 6 hours, even better. Just do chatting. Because that's what I did too, is I did just chatting, just talked about whatever. And so far, it's been doing pretty good. Again, I think my biggest problem right now, and the reason why I'm not experiencing growth, which Leone, it seems so target, even though I was guessing you weren't even talking about me. Leone, I can't even see if you're watching the stream. Okay. Yeah. Getting into more gaming recently. Yeah. So what I would do, Jackson, is something I've been working on is I just did just chatting. And then I've been trying to like slowly but surely get into gaming. Because the question that I have to ask myself as a streamer, and I got this from other streamers too, is what kind of streamer do you want to be? Because that's going to depend on what you're going to do. Do you want to be a gaming YouTube kind of streamer that like only plays games and people stay for the games you play and they all have a specific theme to them, like anime games? Or do you want to be people show up because you're playing this game? You know? It's because of you. And if you want to do it because they want to show up because of you, what you'd have to do is you have to do just chatting. and then you start playing games after just chatting for 6 hours. And it's uncomfortable. Talking to yourself, you're a madman. Like, I'm talking to the wall. I'm talking to the abyss. And I did that, like, starting off. So, yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, exactly. But, like, you have to come up with topics. And, like, for me, what I'm doing, too, is I'm trying right now for, like, at least my strategy is it's also discoverability, too. A lot of Twitch viewers are on YouTube watching shortened clips on YouTube. So what I'm doing is I'm also trying to push. I'm going to shorten my VODs and post them on YouTube so that I can bring in that YouTube audience. So I have a Twitch chat, an active Twitch chat. Because if the CEO, Dan Clancy of Twitch, says it's hard to get discovered on Twitch, which anyone who's been on Twitch for a hot minute knows, Twitch hasn't been in the best state. There's lots of drama around. There's so much drama. There's, like, again, is Twitch dead? I don't think Twitch is dead. I do think there's a lot of freaking problems with Twitch. I don't think Twitch is dead. I think you just have to navigate it a different way. Yeah, I used to start off translating visual novels from English, Japanese, into German. Oh, okay. That's dope. Yeah, but like what I would do is if you like, do you have a YouTube? Did you ever do YouTube videos? Because that's like my thing is I would always do YouTube. Okay, I'm a little bit weird. So I started off as a YouTuber. I have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that's just from anime content I did. And I've done everything. I've done just breakdowns. I shifted to reactions, and then I got copyright struck, so I stopped doing the reactions. But then I pivoted to streaming because I'm like, I want to do streaming instead. It's more fun. So that's just my thing is I just want to focus on making content, and the best solution to what I see is growth on this platform, especially if it's an uphill battle for small creators. Large creators are screwing it over for small creators. I'm just gonna say that here. That is not a controversial thing to say. I absolutely think it's true because we're losing a lot of sponsorships. Guess who can survive that? Big creators. Can small creators lose sponsorships? No. So more money bleeds out of Twitch, the worse off it's gonna be. Okay, that's why YouTube is like sort of like the perfect avenue to get out of there. You know what I mean? That's why I'm streaming on YouTube too. That's why multi-streaming is the future. Yeah, I don't have a YouTube. I would start, Jackson, if you're worried about finding YouTube viewers or Twitch viewers, post shorten VODs like 10 minutes. Like, because you talk for 6 hours, right? Or 8 hours. Post 8-hour clips onto your YouTube. Or make a YouTube for your Twitch. And then link your Twitch in so that people will get brought over from your YouTube to your Twitch. And then people will be watching you on Twitch. Because that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm not worried. I just do streaming for fun. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's also something you could work on, though. Yeah. Yeah, because don't worry. I'm in the same boat, though. I guess I'm taking streaming a little bit more seriously because I'm trying to make this a thing because I feel like I can. If I made it to 1,000, I think it was 1,200 subscribers now on my YouTube, I feel like I could do pretty decently on Twitch. And I think I've been doing pretty good so far. But that's good though. If you're enjoying Twitch though, that's also like a huge thing too. Is like if you're just having a great time, like that's also good. You know what I mean? And if you're just here for the vibes, that's pretty dope. I'm actually having my sponsorships with shops and companies. I actually just landed one 2 days ago. Wait, actually? That's so hype, dude. Congratulations. That's actually super hype, dude. I'm happy for you. Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal. That's the next horizon. And my timetable, I'm aiming. I'm shooting for the stars. I'm aiming for January to see like my progression. Dude, sponsorships are so hyped though, aren't they? I think that's like one of the coolest parts of content creation. Anchor Games. I do not. Is it like a game studio? Is that what it is? Visual novel publishing company. Okay. Nice. And you got sponsored by them? Dude, that's sick. Yeah, because you mentioned you were playing, what was it? That one visual novel game before, right? Yeah, Higurashi, right? You were telling me about that earlier, right? I had to scroll up and chat a little bit. I forgot the name for a sec. Yeah, I played a lot. Oh, perfect. So that sponsorship lines up exactly with what you want, right? To like promote. Yeah. I also, okay. You want to tell you something funny about streaming while like I wait for your response? Okay. Funniest thing as a streamer that I realized was how insane I must be, because since we talk as, I mean, you're probably aware of this, Jackson, but you're talking by yourself in an empty room to no one in the room, right? We're talking to strangers on the internet, right? There's been so many times where I talk too much on the phone with my parents now when I call them, or my brothers. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? I keep wanting to continue this conversation for hours just because I'm used to straight. Like, we're 3 hours in. I've been talking for pretty much 3 hours straight. It's like, what? What? It's pretty niche, kind of niche in the German-speaking anime community. Yep, I know. That's awesome. Dude, that's pretty sick, though. Like, that's dope. But yeah, where was I? Oh, yeah. But some of my viewers through conventions. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I haven't been to conventions yet. At least anime conventions. I eventually want to go. But I also feel like it'd be also really fun if I blew up first and then went, you know, when I was bigger, at least to like the bigger anime conventions. Because I'm like, well, you know, it'd be fun going to a convention, but you know, it'd be even more fun being sponsored and you don't have to pay a single dime and you get accommodations when you go to a convention. You know what I mean? It's like a sponsored trip. You get paid to have fun, right? Dude, that's sick. That is sick. That is cool. So Isaac, so you're living the dream as a streamer. Yeah. See, now those are the gifts of streaming. I think that's what makes streaming rewarding. I've also like, I'm just talking about the weird things about streaming where it's like you talk way too much now to people you know. You don't know when to shut up. At least that's for me. I don't know when to shut up. That's just now who I am. I also like love having inner thoughts. Also, I can't react to things normally now. I have to go, oh, Pog. You know, I have the streamer reactions now, and I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with me? I have never imagined this. You have never imagined yourself talking too much? I mean, it could be just a me thing. Like, okay, here's some pretext too. I was a very, very introverted person growing up. I did not talk at all. I barely talked. I still feel weird when I get recognized by people sometimes. Yeah, well, what did Ludwig say? Ludwig said that if you become a successful streamer, you almost become like a D tier celebrity, where you won't get recognized like by people on the regular, but sometimes you will. Nah, it's like getting gifts from fans. Oh, you never imagine. Okay, you never imagine yourself getting gifts from fans. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome though. Like I'm glad that you're in this point in time, cuz that's super dope, you know? Yeah. Like I've always, and here's the thing. The reason why I also wanted, so I told you I've been like a YouTuber before I went into Twitch streaming. The reason why I want to be a streamer, specifically on Twitch and YouTube, but like mostly just Twitch right here. Cuz I think Twitch is my preferred platform. Is because I love the communities here. I still think there are toxic communities, absolutely, but there's some communities here that I just love. And you can't take that away, you know? Like the stories you're telling me, I'm like, that's awesome. I love that. That's amazing. Streaming is absolutely okay. Streaming can be easier a little bit, but there's a lot more expectations. It can be easier, but you are expected to stay consistent, to, you know, put yourself out there. YouTube, you can just hide behind you can take as many takes as you want. Streaming, you're live. You say something wrong, you blow up on like, was it live stream fails or whatever, LSF, and it's over. You're gonna get canceled. Like, well, canceled in the sense of like, there's gonna be an angry hate mob towards you. Maybe you don't get canceled. Maybe you just keep streaming. But there's a lot of caveats with streaming that I think is easier than YouTube. But it does make streaming a lot easier than YouTube. Yeah, we're twerking to a K-pop song. What? Well, what's wrong with twerking to a K-pop song? Now I want to know. Cause have you heard some of the K-pop songs? Okay. As someone who's a big K-pop fan, look, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I was on your side, Jackson. Then you drop that. Then that, I don't know. That's your hot take for the day. Then I guess. It's getting lit. I'm getting lit. Nah, I would own it though. I would own that. Okay. I don't care what the haters say. I'm gonna own that. Yeah, but honestly though, looking back, like, so again, it's weird. I started off as an introvert. Awesome. That's good then. That's good, Jackson. You know, honestly, hats off. Respect. Yeah, as long as you're having fun, it's a good time all around, right? Yeah, but for me though, I personally do. Sorry, I have to like allow certain things. My bot is like super like, I don't know. There's some bot on my chat that's monitoring, filtering everything. I'm like, guys, this is fine. Leave my viewers alone. My chat viewers. You know what? That's fair. I am very thick too. My friends can say that too. That's why I do so well. Any K-pop song. But yeah, no, it's just, I don't know. Streaming's just a whole new game. Especially because, like, COVID definitely helped blow it up. But now I feel like we're in a new era. And there are powerhouses for sure. But I don't know. For smaller streamers, it's just going to be interesting to see the landscape going forward. Yeah, Asians Gone Wild. Oh, yeah. I love that. Dude, I love that. Asians Gone Wild. Absolutely. But yeah. Oh yeah, no. Throw on any K-pop song, it's over. It's over. I'm sorry. I've already won. That's what's gonna happen. I already ruled the dance floor. That's what's gonna happen. Yeah. Yeah. Respect for loving K-pop though. K-pop is one of my favorite music genres. But yeah, like, I don't know. Twice. Okay. If we're gonna go down this rabbit hole, okay. Twice, Blackpink, New Jeans, BTS, 17, Stray Kids. I blinked on Stray Kids for a sec. Why did I do that? Gravity. Let's see what else. I'm sure I'm missing a lot. Twice is a good one though. What else do I listen to? When I always have them on. I have them dialed here. But the moment someone asks me about artists, it's over. Girls' Generation. There we go. ITZY. Red Velvet. Absolutely great. I love Red Velvet. I knew I was missing a couple. Why? How did I forget Girls' Generation? Come on. What is wrong with me? K-rap. I'll be honest, not really. What would be considered K-rap though? I love how Google thinks I mean crap music, not K-rap. Sonyoon, Moonji, Soyeon. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. The only person I recognize from this list, is Lisa from Blackpink. I'm gonna be okay. Jimin. Jimin is good. Do you mean Jimin or Jamin? Oh, you're talking about the other one. Jamin. Okay. I had to look that up. I'm like, wait. It's not a typo. It's not Jimin. Okay. Because I'm thinking of another song. Sweet Dreams. I'm thinking of J. Have you heard of Sweet Dreams by J-Hope? J Park used to be in BTS. Okay. Yeah, I used to like Lisa. I like Lisa from Blackpink. I think she's amazing when she's part of Blackpink. I'm not a fan of her as a rapper. Call it a hot take. I don't think her songs are that great when she's on by herself. I prefer it if she did I don't know. She just has to refine a lot of things, in my opinion. She's just not on the next level yet. That being said, other Lisa, Japanese artist Lisa, J-pop artist Lisa. Oh my god. I could listen to anything, any day. J-pop Lisa, oh, Demon Slayer, Sword Art Online, Solo Leveling. Oh, we love Lisa in this house. Oh, Lisa was literally my childhood. I grew up to Sword Art Online at, was it Crossing Starfield? Holy shit. That's the shit growing up, you know? You listen to that opening for Sword Art Online. Beautiful. Ano. I do not know Ano. I do know Otto. I do love Otto because of the One Piece movie. I have not seen Takopi. I have not seen that. Is it a good song? And oh, okay. I know about Yasobi. Yasobi's a good artist. And also here's my flex as a anime fan. I was a big fan of Creepy Nuts. Or I wasn't a big fan. I was a fan of Creepy Nuts before they blew up. Because I loved Call of the Night. And then all it took was Mashal Season 2 to have that opening. And everyone's now a fan of Creepy Nuts. Or I guess Spy Family too. They're like, oh yeah, no, Creepy Nuts is amazing. But I was a fan first before everyone was saying they were big fans of them. Yeah, and now they're doing everything from Dan to Dan, so that's good. Just came out. I have not seen that yet. I do like Idol though. I do like Idol. I think Idol's a great song. But Queen Bee. I still have this debate with myself on, as much as I have reservations about Oshinoko, the opening and ending songs are just glorious. And I still debate, I flip-flop on what's better, the opening or the ending. Okay, I'm gonna consider it added to the list. But Mephisto by Queen Bee and Queen Bee also did I think, what was it? I think it was Queen Bee Zero Ichi. Yeah, Zero Ichi from Undead Unluck. Oh, dude, you pair Mephisto with Zero Ichi. Oh, peak Queen Bee songs. I love Zero Ichi because it's like, it just has this vibe to it that I just very much love, you know? Like every time I listen to it, it's like cathartic. It's just like you're floating in deep space. And it's just like, it's just a good vibe all around. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, Queen Bee is a great artist. Yeah, no worries, Jackson. Thanks for stopping by. I do appreciate it, dude. Like, you're doing great on streaming, by the way. Keep up the good work, dude. Like, I encourage streamers to grow. Keep going. It's also awesome that you found your little niche there. That's dope. But yeah, to answer everyone's question, is Twitch dead? Because again, this is like the whole theme of today's stream is like, is Twitch really gonna die? I don't think so, because Twitch is already, it's literally too big to fail right now. Unless like there's big mess ups and Amazon cuts it. But I don't think so. I think so far Twitch, there just needs to be a lot of changes. And I think what's gonna happen is streamer like sponsors. It's like it's Adpocalypse 3.0. We already said there's 2.0. 3.0 again, but it's gonna be for Twitch. And what's gonna happen is big things are gonna happen. They're gonna lose their footing, right? And all that needs to happen going forward is there just needs to be changes specifically on who the biggest streamers are and what get featured. And all it takes is someone like me. And I don't mean this to puff out my chest or anything, but in some terms of like what I strive to be as a streamer, it could be me, it could be someone else. I could definitely not make it into the top echelon. That's actually very unlikely for me to even get up there. Even to become like a small yet successful streamer, I feel like I'm not even there yet. You know what I mean? But I could see myself like, if I work hard, I could make it to the top. You know what I mean? But like someone else, like it's like the probability someone else does, they're going to be less controversial. But they're still going to be like genuine. I think genuine people are in the end going to succeed. It's going to be people who are very noble in their hearts, that enjoy what they're doing and just want to create positive vibes. I feel like those are the type of people that are going to succeed on Twitch. They're going to change the Twitch ecosystem. And from that point on, after the big craziness that goes on, Twitch is going to be back to becoming successful. Because everyone's fleeing to kick. Twitch doesn't really know what they're doing. You know, YouTube, people are like, do multi-live streaming, this and that. But honestly, as much as I do have a lot of viewers on YouTube who have been super dope, and I love you guys. If you're watching on YouTube, you guys have been great. I still think a lot of them are going to be on Twitch. At least what I'm recognizing because of the community here. Now, I want to bridge the gap so YouTube and Twitch can hang out with each other. Absolutely. But you never know. You never know what's going to end up going down, you know? And I'm still trying out new things. I just finished editing my JoJo Lands video. I'm going to try editing this VOD and the VOD from 2 days ago on Monday. And I'm going to see if I can start posting them on my channel to see how it goes, you know? It's an experiment. It's an experiment. We're going to see how this floats, you know? And I think personally, I'm not going to get any this is my Babe Ruth call. I'm swinging. I have my bat ready. I'm at home plate. I'm going to swing for the hills, okay? But before then, I'm going to point my shot. I'm going to point in front right there. I'm going to point in the distance. Okay. I think this is my prediction. I'm not going to get that many views on my YouTube video. I think my JoJo Lands, I'm very late with that one, so I'm probably not going to get the craziest amount of views. I don't think I'm going to get views on my new videos I post, the ones I edit down, my shortened VODs, I will say. That's not going to happen. What is going to happen, though, is I just need to keep posting it slowly but surely. I'll pivot my channel. I'm going to lose some subscribers here and there. But the more that people keep watching and get invested and see, hey, this guy's just talking. That's all he's doing. He's just talking. He's vibing. A lot more people are going to stay, and I'm going to gain more viewers that way. That's going to be my secret to success. I'm going to try that, and I'm going to make it so I post videos every single day. They said it can't be done. I'm about to prove them wrong. So we're going to see how this goes. Okay. We're going to see how this goes. We're going to see if discoverability is really lost and you do have to find it on YouTube. If it works out, I'm sharing the secret with everyone else. Even though it's not really a secret, everyone says you have to grow on YouTube, bring them over to Twitch. But I think quality with streaming, it's not about quality. It's about quantity. And if I post a video every single day of my streams, people are going to realize, hey, this guy's talking about things we like. And they're going to hop on over. So that's going to be my secret to success. I keep fidgeting with this. It's like before, it's my little thumb drive. So we're gonna see how this goes. Again, I'm still experimenting. I'm gonna keep this, by the way. I tried lights on. I'm gonna be honest. Lights off are better. I like the lights off better because it makes it seem like an actual stream room. You can see the text better because if I turn on the lights again. Yeah. Much harder to see the text. You can see the text better. I definitely like it better. Especially if I'm a nighttime streamer. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to see how this goes together. I am so glad. If you're lurking right now, I want to thank you so much for being a part of my journey. Because as much as I do love talking to the people in chat, they're amazing. I love them. Like Jackson and Coral who stopped by. Lurkers, you guys do a lot too by supporting this stream and this channel. So thank you guys. Because my goal, I'm going to make it to the top. That is my reach goal. Is I hope by the end of, like I said, January. I was going to say January for affiliate. I don't think that's possible. But what I will say is my reach goal of joining partner by, and this is when I started streaming seriously, May of next year. If I can reach a partner by May of next year, game changer. It's going to mean a lot to me. And I'm going to work my butt off until then. So stay tuned. This is going to be the birth of something great. And I can't wait to share this community with all of you. You guys are more than welcome to join. Be a part of the Seyorias Nights, guys. It'll be a fun journey along the way. And my friend Flying Nimbus is getting back into streaming too. So that's going to be super hyped too. Because he is technically my rival. That is canon. He's the rival of the Seyorias Nights. He has mystical powers. So I don't know. We're just like, we're knights. We do have magical powers, but we don't have mystical powers. So we'll see how we can fare against Flying Nimbus. But yeah, I've been talking for 3 hours and 34 minutes. I think it's about time to wrap up stream. I wanted to do Wuwa. Again, we ran out of time, but that's okay. I want to thank everyone for watching and stopping by. You guys really mean a lot to me. I feel very blessed. Truly. And I don't say that lightly. It means a lot that I have such a strong support around me. And it motivates me to get better every day, to improve stream every day, to be a better person too. And in turn, it did make me a better person. I'm able to talk more. I'm more extroverted. And I just love having a good time. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I'll catch you guys later. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you guys later.